What's up, CD?
What's up? What's up?
CDs and nuts. Got 'em.
Got my Buy Pride shirt on today.
Oh, nice. 'Tis the season. It's very festive.
It is the season. It is.
Very
It is.
Yeah, that's right, man. Bye. I'm trying to think of a joke to like. I don't know. I was in the mood to say something about try, but I shouldn't even try. I guess. I don't know. I didn't have one prepared.
So you have a Catholic priest, a Jewish rabbi, and a Mormon bishop, and they're out fishing. And after about an hour, they start to get hungry. So the Jewish rabbi jumps over the side of the boat, walks across the water, grabs their lunch pails, and they begin to
I've heard
eat.
this one. I heard you say this one. Keep going.
About 2 hours later, they're running low on worms. So the Catholic priest jumps over the side of the boat, walks across the water, and brings back some worms. He's gone for about a half hour because he's going in the shade digging up some worms. The Mormon bishop is sitting there being like, holy crap, these two guys just walked on water. And he's like, I got to make up a reason and figure out how to do this. And so he's like, hey guys, I'm going to run back and grab some water. And he jumps off the side of the boat, falls right into the water. And the Jewish rabbi looks over at the Catholic priest and says, maybe we should have told him where the rocks were at.
Oh, man. I love that shit. I wish the rim shot was quicker to the punchline. I was like, shit, I never used it. Which hotkey was it again? Alright. Well, anyway, guys. I'm joined tonight by Cyber Deconstruction. Ogar couldn't make it, so we got a reliable fill-in. You guys are cool with Cyber, right?
And just in case I have to step out, we have another co-host in, we'll see, in Shadow, who's just ran. Maybe Shadow will make his appearance. He just ran into his tunnel, trying to catch him before he did.
Yeah, I don't think
but maybe
to be on screen.
Yeah, that would follow.
That's what. Hey, don't just show me. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for being here. Thanks for the taps. Thanks for the early engagement. Let's see if we've got a guest. All right.
And to be clear, what we mean by God, we mean an ultimate being with a mind that created everything. That's what we mean.
Correct. Okay, Alan, are you at least 18?
Yes.
All right. And do you believe in God, and which one?
Yes.
Which God
He
do you believe
visited
in?
me in a dream. He visited me in a dream.
Which one?
The Christian God.
Okay. What's your best evidence for God?
He visited me in a dream.
Um,
And also,
you have-
I read the Bible.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks, Alan. All right. Let's try a real Christian.
Maybe you should take the Ian or the Dr. Blitz approach and start banning trolls. You just ban them.
I don't know, because I wanna come up with a I don't have one yet, but I want to come up with a funny way to respond to it. So until then, I'm gonna I just don't know what to do. You know, if you're gonna come up and troll, really don't mind as long as it's really funny. You know, if I can like get in on it, that's fun. All right, Andrew, you at least 18.
Yo, it's Crack Lacking, man. Yeah, over 18 for sure. For show.
For sure, yeah. What it do? All right, so what God do you believe in?
Well, actually, I came up to ask you, like, do you affirm that God doesn't exist, or are you just an agnostic?
I give God an infinitesimally small chance. Like I wouldn't say it's like a 1 in a million. I'd say it's like 1 out of infinity. So not 0.
Be
But-
0. 1 out of infinity is probably 0, bro. I think if my math
Well,
is correct.
0 out of infinity would be 0.
Well,
1
1
out
out
of
of
infinity
infinity would
is in
also
the
be. Yeah, it would probably
And
also.
whatever the
terminate at
smallest
0.
percentage is that is
1
just
over
above
infinity, I think, is
0.
0.
Yeah, whatever is just above
Kind of like
0%.
0.99 repeating.
Yeah, infinite.
But
Concept.
I do believe though that is a burden shift because the question was, what's your best evidence for
But
God?
did I make a claim? No, so it's not a burden shift. Blunder number 1. But how do you justify the 1 out of infinity probability? That's a burden on you because now you're making a claim of probability.
Well, I mean, do you want to start off with like my take, or do you want to like?
Well, you made the claim. The only one here who so far has made a claim is you. I haven't made any claims.
Well, I was doing the preliminary questions. It was about to ask you the prompt how I start every conversation. But
Yeah,
you've already
but I
started
jumped the gun
asking
on
me
you.
questions.
Yeah, well, because you've already got a prompt up there that says I'm an atheist, and that's the first one. Maybe if you had what's your best evidence for God on top of that, I would have answered that first.
Well, this is
See how
just
that works.
background about like my state of belief. Just like how you would say that,
0.999
like,
repeating is not infinity; it's 1. Rhino. What are you dumb? Anyways, yeah. So can you justify the probability claim?
no, that's just like how I think about it because I think that God. Every time I
Yeah.
hear
So you have no
every
justification for your
time-
claim. You just think
every
that
time
way.
I
You have no
hear-
substantiation. For
No,
it.
you just don't want to hear it because I'm trying to talk to you, but you're just.
Well,
talking
actually, you
over
said
me.
that's just how I hear it. Think about it, and by saying
well, I was
just how I
about
think
to
about it
explain-
implies you have no
I was
substantiation.
about to explain,
okay, let's see
Andrew,
if you
but
do it.
you aren't interested in hearing what I have to say.
Well, let's see
because
if you do
keep
it and
speaking
you don't
over me.
humiliate yourself because you keep humiliating
An-
yourself by not providing a substantiation. That's
Andrew-
quickly. I'm going to mute up and try to hear you.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Andrew. So, anyways, the reason why I say that is because whenever I hear God described, he's consistently described in ways that entail logical contradictions, and I think those are necessarily false. But because I'm a fallibilist and there could be a problem with my reasoning somewhere along the line, I don't say it's absolutely 0.
Sounds good. What's the contradiction? Lay out the P and not P. Go ahead.
Sure, yeah, God created time, but time cannot be created.
Yeah. Why can time not be created? Go ahead.
Because then you would have a state where there is no change, changing to a state where there is change. That's a contradiction. That which is changeless.
It's not a
cannot change.
contradiction. The state
Yeah.
of affairs changing doesn't
Let me
mean that
ask you
God
this.
changed.
Let me
Yeah.
ask you this.
I just refuted that.
Andrew,
I just refuted
no,
that. Can you
let me
address
ask you
the
this,
refutation?
Andrew.
Can you address the
I
refutation?
can't-
Can you address the refutation?
Can
Yes,
I-
that just defeats your P
Andrew,
not P.
Andrew,
Wait,
take a
don't
breath.
run. I just addressed.
Take a
Don't
breath,
run from the
Andrew.
refutation.
Take
Yeah,
a
but don't
breath.
run from the refutation.
Slow down.
Why does the state
a
of
breath.
calm down? Calm down. It's going to be
No,
okay. Dude,
you
I
need
promise
to
you, I'm
calm
perfectly
down,
in
Andrew.
control.
Andrew, it's gonna be okay. It's
Can
gonna
you
be
address
okay.
the counter? Can you address my
Cyber,
rebuttal?
Can you hold
address
his
my
hand?
rebuttal?
I think he needs something.
Why are you running from this? I
Andrew.
just
Yeah,
destroyed
I'll
your...
give you a pocket to hold on to. The
Why are
issue
you
is
running
that
from this, bro?
Andrew, the issue is you don't
Tell
give
me-
him
Can
a
you
chance
explain to me why
respond.
time is
Yeah,
necessary to
you're not
create
giving
time?
me a chance to respond.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
so
not gonna get
Andrew, the
this.
issue is as soon as he's not responding in the way you feel
No,
he
I
needs to, you
explained
immediately
the
interject.
refutation, and he failed to counter. I gave you the refutation, right? So let me just give it again,
Andrew,
if you
Andrew,
don't
you're
mind,
just running
because
rhetoric.
we'll be a
This
good
is really
faith.
embarrassing.
It's not rhetoric; it's substance.
because you
Why
don't
are you
even
dodging
even
now?
understand what my point is.
Okay,
what the
I
contradiction
did,
really
and I
is.
gave you the refutation.
Andrew,
Okay, can you give me 10 seconds
Andrew,
then? Can you give me
No,
10 seconds in good faith?
Absolutely the fuck
I
not.
promise I'll
No,
mute up.
because
I
you
promise
have
I'll
not
mute up.
been- You
I
have not been
promise I'll
good
mute
faith
up.
for even a single
I
millisecond of
promise.
this, so why would
I promise I'll mute up.
No, I don't fucking believe you. So anyway, Andrew.
See why you run? See how bad faith you
Andrew,
are? You just have to,
you don't even know. You know what?
you don't want to hear the
Andrew, it
destruction of
could
your
What do
be
you
the
think
worldview.
case
I'm-
you
You
straw
want to hear the
man him.
destruction of your worldview. Yeah, give me 10
Andrew,
seconds. I
what do you
promise
think
you
is
I
my
will not
point?
interrupt you. I promise you I will not interrupt you. Give me 10 seconds. Okay?
No.
You saying the state of affairs changed does not mean God changed. Fucked you up. Now give me the refutation.
No. So if there is no time, then there is no change.
Begging
the
the
state
fucking
is-
question, asshole. Begging the fucking question. I just gave you the explanation. The fact that the state of
You-
affairs
Wait,
changes
how is that
doesn't mean
begging the
God
question?
changes.
Go
dumb
ahead.
fuck. Do you
This guy
understand how
begging
that's
the
begging the
question?
question?
Go ahead.
Why are you running? Dude, you don't understand.
Wait, how
I
is
don't know
that
what
begging
time
the
is. How do you
question?
define
Go
time?
ahead.
Yeah, because he doesn't actually explain why you need time to create time. He just assumed that very thing in his fucking conclusion, dumb fuck. Do you not understand how
He was
that
going
works?
on to explain it before you
No,
interrupted
he
him.
just repeated it by repeating it by repeating it. You
Andrew,
dumb
can
fucking
you,
idiot
like,
by fucking
do you
repeating
have-
the very
You
thing.
need to go back on your chill
These
pills.
fucking idiots, dude.
Like you could
Dude,
easily
how
get a
fucking insane are you
prescription
right there?
for
You're literally
those.
face down, ass up, and I'm
You could
fucking you in
really-
every
I don't-
orifice.
so
Now
the
answer my
thing is, though,
refutation.
Andrew,
You're literally
is
getting
that,
fucked to pieces right now. Your
nobody-
entire worldview got destroyed.
This is really
Time, by the way,
pathetic.
means change. Obviously,
Andrew, this is
time
really
generally means
embarrassing
change.
for
Answer
you
my
because
refutation. Answer,
we
yeah,
have
projecting the fact
not
you're
even
getting
really
humiliated.
begun the conversation, and you already
Projecting
feel
the fact you're
need
getting
to resort to
humiliated
ad
on national
hominems.
fucking TV. I like. Not
Do you think
exactly
this is
national
TV?
TV, but I'm just hoping that it is. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretending it is just for you, for the sake of your humiliation. So answer my fucking refutation of your position. Go ahead.
Andrew, I wasn't listening to your refutation because I was already talking when you.
Yeah, the
started
state of
with it.
affairs. The state of affairs changing. That God changes. Why are you muting me?
I'm not.
Why are you
my
running so
mods
badly?
are muting. My mods are muting you because you've made it really
Yeah,
fun.
muzzle your mods. Muzzle your fucking mods. Muzzle your fucking mods, little doggy. Muzzle your fucking little doggy mods, kiddo. Anyways, I stated the state of affairs changing doesn't mean that
Andrew,
God
answer me
changes.
a
Now
question.
provide the refutation. Now provide the
No,
refutation to that.
Answer
Go ahead.
me a question.
Oh no, that's a concession. Okay, that's a concession.
It's
No.
not a
What the
concession.
fuck is
I'm-
that is a concession,
why on
Cyber.
earth
You're
would I
also like
even-
piggybacking on that.
Andrew,
why
why,
would I ever respond?
why
Because
would
I have no response to
bother
the substance.
engaging?
Yeah, I have no
why
response.
would I waste engaging
I'll
in good
mute.
faith
I'll wait
with
and
the
I'll
likes
see.
of you?
I'll wait and I'll see if you fucking respond. You fucking troglodyte. I'll fucking wait and see, right? While I'm like literally get you face down, ass up, fucking you in every orifice, and got my fist up your ass and like up the fucking torso, asshole.
This is a
that's
professional right here.
Keep in mind,
Anyways,
keep
guys,
in mind,
yeah.
this is a guy that
fun. This
as
is fun.
soon
Don't take it
as
too
you
seriously.
know,
Don't take it too seriously. I mean, your worldview did get destroyed, but this is kind of fun.
it didn't. Because
You
you,
don't even
anytime
know
you-
what-
It did. Yeah. Respond to my state of affairs versus God changing. Go ahead.
I wasn't listening to what you were saying.
Yeah, state of affairs changing doesn't mean God changes, dumb fucking idiot. Not they're coping right
so
now.
this
Like,
is-
is this
Who
all you
said
got,
anything
guys?
about-
Is this all
hold
you
on,
fucking
real quick,
got
real
when somebody
quick.
comes up here and
that's
actually
the issue.
destroys
Is
your entire fucking
you're
worldview?
assuming he's
I'm
talking
assuming
about
what?
God changing.
He said
Why
the
do you
state of
think
affairs,
he's talking
dumb
about
fact.
God
He said the state of
changing?
fucking affairs. Okay, so if God doesn't change, he concedes that God doesn't need time to create time. You fucking idiot!
No, I asked a question.
Are you?
Andrew, I asked
He
a
implicitly
question.
fucking
Andrew,
conceded.
I didn't
He
make a.
implicitly fucking conceded. Oh
Andrew,
my God,
I didn't
you
make a
literally
statement,
butt-fucked,
I
dude. You
asked
got
a
butt-fucked. I literally got both of
Andrew
you
is
ass
like
fucking
I asked
up,
a
face
question.
down, dude.
Reflection
Literally
right now.
fucking you, man.
And keep in mind, chat, what we see here is Andrew's
the gifts. I
contradiction.
really appreciate that,
Can you
guys.
keep it
Yeah.
muted
What's
real
the
quick?
contradiction? Where's the peanut pea? Go ahead.
Yeah, so when you came up and I
Wait, you
said,
came
hey,
up. Watch the
you're
cope now. This is
burden
epic cope
shifting,
rack. Epic
and
cope.
you're like, see, then and this thing
Where did I
is,
burden
see,
shift?
Andrew, when you have to
Dude,
interrupt, that just
dude,
shows
it's like-
chat that you just can't contain
fine,
yourself, that you know you're going to
I'll
lose.
mute
Because all you're going to do is just keep
You already
talking
got
and
it.
talking,
This is
and you don't allow
amazing.
anybody to ever interact. So when you came up and I mentioned, and I was like, hey, you're burden shifting, and your comment was, wait a minute, I didn't make a statement, I just asked a question. Well, when I just asked the question, you assumed and you started treating that like it was a statement, and you started trying to dog on me, being like, oh look, you just defeated yourself, you just.
What the hell is?
But the question is, though, if I didn't make a
Why are you
proposition,
hallucinating?
thus I'm not like contradicting. You didn't do nothing. I just asked a question.
Yeah,
Well,
what?
then if you're considering that a
Some more?
defeater, well, then you burden shift, because you're going to have a
What's burden shift?
self-contradiction on your worldview where
Where?
questions suddenly do become
Burden shift.
propositions.
That's a contradiction. What?
Because
Dumbass
your
says
view
what?
is questions aren't
Dumbass says what?
propositions, which is true. But when
Dumbass
I
says
ask
what?
a question, you
Dumbass
treat it
says
as
what?
if it is a proposition.
Oh,
What is he
I
talking
just
about, dude?
realized
Are
something.
you talking to yourself right now? You're literally
I
talking.
just realized something. There's no way he's 18. So we've got to like, cuz I think
Oh,
that
why
this
is that?
this is how all of like the people I knew in 6th grade acted. There's no. I don't know anybody older than like the age of like 6th grade class that behaves in this way. So I've gotta,
Well,
unfortunately.
and not only that,
He
but
was
I
a funny
think this
clown. But like, the joke can only go on for so long.
yeah, and I think I'm not 100% certain because there's another person who's debated Ian a few times who's the exact same way, and he sounds similar. So I'm not saying that is the same person, but it sounds like him, and it acts like him.
All right. Let's bring up. What is that? Oh, I thought it was BoJack Horseman for some reason. I don't know why.
Hey, what's up? What's up? Yeah,
Hey.
Andrew needs to wrap it up. Okay, so good faith, right?
All right, you're actually 18, right? You're not 12
Yes.
or however old he is. All right, and
2006.
okay. Oh, 20. All right. So, what God do you believe in?
I believe in Allah. I'm Muslim, and I get my teachings from the Quran and Sunnah. So what's this time argument? What is this?
Yeah. So the idea is that time is a fundamental part of the universe. So time would have to be created if the universe is created, but change only exists within time. So if you have a state of affairs where there is no change, you have a changeless state of affairs. By definition, it cannot change. That which is
I
changeless
understand.
cannot
I
change.
understand.
So the beginning of time like entails a contradiction.
Gotcha.
Or
And
time being created does. I guess you could have like a first moment, but it wouldn't be like
and
something that could be caused.
I understand. And you believe time is created?
No, I don't think it's possible.
And can you define the universe for us?
I guess I would say the totality of physical reality. What do you think, Cyber?
A
Is
set
that
of
a
all.
good one?
Go ahead. Yeah. Maybe I can offer a definition, and if you agree or disagree, I would just say like a set of all existent things.
I would say it's probably the totality of space time and all matter, energy fields, and physical processes that exist within it.
Okay. So it's comprised of space, time, and matter, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
The universe. And what does time pick out?
What's the
Time?
question? Time. What does time pick out?
Yeah.
What does that mean? What's the
How can
question?
we define time and it
I
be a
would say,
meaningful?
okay, I would say that time is the axis upon which change can occur.
Like
Like
a
the fourth,
measurement, you would
it's the
say.
fourth dimension of space-time. Sort of like
It's just a
in a certain
progression.
sense.
Yeah, and I'd say it's a progression from one state to another.
hmm Yeah, these are
And
fun.
we do agree that matter is created and time is not created, correct?
I think that matter comes into existence from the excitations of the quantum fields.
Yeah, it's
So I
going to
could say that,
depend on
yeah,
what you
like,
mean by created.
yeah, it depends on what you
Okay.
mean, but yeah, I would say that matter does come into existence, seemingly from nothing, but not from absolutely nothing. Whereas time, I don't think it's logical to say that time could come into existence.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, sure. So as for matter, it's a qualified statement. You wouldn't say absolutely nothing, right? You would say there's some sort of cause that allowed this thing to come into existence, correct?
Ooh, no. I would say that the fundamental fields have just always existed.
And what is that? The fundamental field?
Yeah,
Is it something or is it nothing?
It's something. There are
Yeah.
physical fields that permeate the entire universe. There's a field for every fundamental particle.
So we don't say something comes from nothing. Simplicator, right?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, good.
I don't think that
So
nothing is a thing that can exist. I don't
Gotcha.
think it
So
exists.
I actually affirm that time is created. So I don't see an issue. So what's the issue?
Okay, well, can you tell me how an unchanging state can change into a changing state?
Well, I don't believe that God is an unchanging state. So I believe that God has a multitude of distinct properties that are Cambridge properties, and he has the ability to actualize these properties, such as love, such as anger, such as any other sort of attribute would seem to be some sort of a Cambridge property, meaning that my God has the ability to actualize or to withhold actualizing that said attribute.
Well, you said that God. You said that He's not unchanging. So if He is changing, then He would exist in time. The only time, or the only way that
No,
you could have change is within time.
No, I didn't say that. I said God is subject to change insofar as his attributes,
So
such as love, such as hate, such as mercy, such as
what? Okay,
justice.
all right. Can you
and
give me an
so forth.
example of what that looks like? Are you saying that like He changed, like at one moment He's feeling love, but then you said that He changes in this example that you're giving, so He changes to like feeling anger.
Yeah, and I believe that he's also subject to time. So he also experiences times where
Okay.
he affirms happiness or he affirms
Wait.
maybe anger.
But like
Or affirms love
but you're saying
or
that He
affirms
brought
hate.
time into existence. So like
I
you're
didn't
saying
say
that.
that. No, I don't
I thought
believe
you said
that.
that time was created.
I said I affirm that time is uncreated.
Oh, it was
I agree with you.
uncreated. I misheard you.
Yes.
Okay. So you think that time is like co-eternal with God?
Yeah, I believe it has no beginning. It's
Hmm.
just a measurement. I agree with your initial definition.
Okay, fair.
Well,
So,
if
go ahead, Cyber.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, if time has just always existed, right? Well, then we would take a look at like Occam's razor, and everything that we have is exactly what we would expect with no God, right? It's completely against what we would expect with a God. But Occam's razor would just say that there's no God necessary then. So now we just need to discuss why do we need God then?
Gotcha. Okay, so I actually have no issue with God if adhering to time and experiencing instances where he actualizes his attributes, so on and so forth. But whenever it comes to God and why we would need some sort of God, because earlier we affirmed that something cannot come from absolutely nothing, and this thing that has the ability to change must have a will if he has the ability to change. This thing, let's say, for example, do we have truth?
That depends on which one of us you ask and what you mean. Cyber's a Platonist. I'm not a Platonist. I think that truth is like something that it's like a descriptor. It has
That's
to do
fine.
with it has to
I-
do with
I can
how
qualify
well
it.
a statement comports with reality.
Gotcha. So yeah, any sort of truth that corresponds to reality, I can qualify a truth in this instance. I'd be defining it simply and colloquially as something that cannot fail to be the case. Do you agree or disagree with that? An objective truth.
I think so.
So, for example, 2 plus 2 cannot fail to equal 4. Do you agree?
By
It depends
definition.
on which. Well, it's going to depend. If we take a look at like binary, it does fail to obtain. So again,
So
it's going to
is-
depend on what we're looking at.
Got you. So, is there a possible world where I have 2 distinct objects to my left and 2 distinct objects to my right, and yet there isn't 4 objects?
Probably not.
Oh, okay. So we have objective truth, right? Okay.
Yeah, I could say
So-
we have objective truth. Yeah.
So, in created things, such as things that are subject to change, can they ground any sort of objective truth? Meaning, if it were to fail to be the case that these objective truths were truly inexistent, can they be grounded in that which is not
In
objective?
created beings,
Yes.
you couldn't ask us that. We don't believe in a creator.
No. Any sort of created thing
Like something constructed from prior materials.
from
Is that what you mean?
from anything.
Can it fail to exist?
Can it fail to exist, or would it main stance independently true? That
Yeah, if
objective
this
truth?
got created, yeah, it'd be created. It'd be true that it was created.
So where do we find objective truths? And before I go there, why can't it
It's in,
exist? Why can I not say that it exists or it's grounded in the cup that you just held up? Why can't I say that? What's wrong?
Well, it's going to be grounded in logic, specifically the law of identity. The law of identity is going to be grounded in difference, because without difference, there is no logic. But difference is going to be grounded in fluctuations within reality. So you need reality to exist. So it's just going to be grounded in reality.
Sure. So such as a cup that you just held up, can I ground 2 plus 2 in the cup that you just held up?
No,
No. That's right. So why not?
because there's, well, how are you using the word grounded? Because there's a few different ways grounded can be used.
Yeah,
here.
can it hold?
Yeah, it just doesn't follow. There's just no
Why not?
following there. Huh?
Why not?
Give me a syllogism and where it would.
Okay, that I don't affirm that it could. I just want to make sure that there's no absolute
Yeah, there's just no
possibility.
connection there.
Okay, thank you. So where if it can't exist in any sort of created thing, like such as the cup you just held up, or any sort of matter, because these things that you just held up.
Wait. If 2 plus 2. So the question, just to make sure, the question you're asking is that the truth of 2 plus 2 cannot be grounded in the cup, right?
Are you gonna say it can be? After
No,
you
I'm
just
saying it can't be.
Okay, yeah, no, I don't believe it can be. So the reason why it can't be is because if that cup failed to exist, it would remain true, right?
Yeah, if nobody created the cup, it'd be true the cup never existed, correct?
Not only that, if the cup were subject to change, meaning if you melted it or if you crumbled it or if you cut it up, it would still be true, right?
That 2 plus 2 equals 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all objective truth is independent, stands independent of all matter. Do you agree or disagree with that?
Yeah,
Because
I'm
matter-
quite missed.
I think so.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
matter
like,
is subject
I think
to
that
change.
it's ultimately grounded in logic, like because we can deduce and infer with logic things that are like absolute. The only thing that's like the caveat is that we have to assume axioms, right? So anytime
exactly.
we're like doing logic, assuming the premises are true, and they could be pretty ubiquitously held premises by people, we could infer that this is almost certainly the case if it's a sound syllogism, but I don't know that we could ever have access to the absolute truth of the matter when it comes to these premises.
Well, we can, and that's what you just said. You described an axiom. So, for example, an axiom is something that which exists in all possible worlds. Do you agree?
I've never heard it defined that way. I've heard it something
Because
that's like obviously true and is a starting point for reasoning or something like that. I haven't heard it where it's like true in all possible. I mean, I suppose like if you're going to use logic as an axiom, I would say that logic would exist in all possible worlds, but that's because I'm using logic to infer that.
Gotcha, yeah. Because 2 plus 2 cannot fail to equal 4, right?
Correct.
The way we've
Okay,
defined it, it's impossible.
Gotcha. Objectively. So we have some sort of objective truth with proper conditions. 4 individual subjects divided, 2 to my left and 2 to my right, cannot fail to equal 4. So now we affirm that we have objective truth. We affirm that objective truth cannot be grounded within any sort of matter, which would be subject to change. Because
We never said it was.
We never said what?
We never said it was. We say it's grounded in logic.
Yeah, no, I'm following through. Yeah, I know you guys never said that. Yeah, I'm just following through. Yeah. So we agree that it cannot be grounded within any sort of matter because those things are subject to change. If those things change, then it can't truly be grounded in that thing. So it must be grounded in something that is not subject to change, something that would be necessary. So, for example, can you ground 2 plus 2 equals 4?
You would just ground it in the law of identity.
Yeah, literally. So the way it works is law of identity, an item A is item A because it contains the properties of item A. And if it contained other properties, it would be item B. But if I have multiple things of item A, or even if I have item A and item B, well, that's 2. Or 1 and 2, 1 plus 1 equals 2, right? Because you'll have 1, you'll go 2. So we get numbers. So that's where it gets grounded. It's just going to be ultimately in the law of identity, which is going to be grounded, again, in difference, which is going to be grounded in reality.
Gotcha. So can cyber ground 2 plus 2 equals 4?
Yeah, in logic.
Cyber can ground it?
Well, I can't. The laws of logic ground it.
So where do axioms exist?
So real quick, I don't know what to call you. You don't have a name, but I really want to get to like the point because I feel like we're going
getting
through
there.
like, an interview process that's taking a long time.
That's fine. Yeah, we're a step away. So where do we find objective truths? Where do they lie?
In logic.
I guess
Well, it's grounded in logic.
And
They
can
don't
we
lie
agree-
anywhere. It's an inference from the laws of logic.
they lie somewhere. Logic is just a subset category of what's
Well,
grounded.
you
within
hold
it.
that view. That's not my view. I'm
for-
a Platonist.
So, can logic conceptualize ideas?
No, it describes ideas. It doesn't conceptualize them.
what-
But like in order to be able to even have this discussion, logic must exist, though.
Gotcha. No, I affirm that. So, what conceptualizes ideas?
Our minds. I really want to get to the point.
Gotcha. So, objective truths such as 2 + 2 = 4, is that just an idea?
I would really like to get to the point. I don't know where this is going at this point.
Oh, we're getting there.
He's running tag. He's trying to run tag.
Is that what it? I've never heard it like take this. long
As soon
to
as
get
they
to
mention
it.
like grounding knowledge and truth and stuff, it's tag.
It's definitely. I mean, definitely. Yeah, I see that connection now.
So
Yeah,
are
but
we-
so it is the case, right? So when we look at reality, right? Reality, it needs to exist in order for logic to exist, right? So because
That's
in
fine.
reality
So-
we have difference, and then when we take a look at an item, and then we take a look at a different item, well, now we have one item. Well, one item would then imply that the number one
so-
just
sorry,
necessarily
let's-
follows
let's-
that
let's-
one
let's-
exists, and we have another item. Well, then number two just necessarily follows, right? So number two comes after there's a second something, right?
Gotcha, Cyber. So are these ideas? Is the question.
How are you defining idea?
Something you can conceptualize. Like earlier, you affirmed that logic cannot conceptualize, but rather logic explains it. So how can we conceptualize truths such as 2 + 2 = 4 with our minds, right?
No, it's just what is comporting with reality.
Corresponds to reality with our minds, right?
Our minds is what's processing the thought. It's what's doing the inference.
So
Gotcha,
real
so-
quick, the issue with this was saying that we need minds, right?
To be able to conceptualize the truths, yes, absolutely.
Well, so hold on. Laws of logic. And maybe I misspoke. If I misspoke, I did. When I say conceptualize, what I mean by that is how we process things. But even if there's no minds, the law of identity still exists. You don't need a human mind for the law of identity to exist. This cup is going to have the properties of a cup, whether or not a mind exists. The fundamental fields are still going to
Cyber,
have
with
their
all due
properties,
respect,
regardless
respect-
if a mind exists or not.
With-
They're
with
still
all
going to
due-
have those properties.
Gotcha. With all due respect, you're a little stuck here because you're not actually answering the question. So what you're just explaining just doesn't correspond or relate to what I'm trying to get at. So
So where are you
So-
trying to get at? You need to word it better because I don't
Oh,
know where you're trying
no.
to get at. And
you do. You understood it actually. You actually answered it, but you're just not tracking with all due respect. So basically, for something to be necessarily true, such as 2 + 2 = 4, we would categorize that thing as an idea. And that idea, as you've said with your own words, cannot be conceptualized in something such as logic, in which that thing explains the idea. So, for something to be true, it must be grounded in something. And we agreed earlier again that it cannot be grounded in something that is subject to change, such as the cup that you like to hold up. Rather, it must be grounded in something that can conceptualize the idea. Do you agree or do you disagree?
I disagree. Again, that's why I explained what I said. Is we use our minds to to make things make sense, to be rational. But 2 + 2 will still equal 4, even if no minds exist. If I have 2 cups, the properties of this
That's
cup.
the point.
Well, yeah, but you don't need the mind. That's just how we as humans.
That's the point. You
rationalize
got it,
things.
Cyber.
But it's not. Hold on. But the mind is not required for 2 + 2 to equal 4.
That's the point.
Okay, so what is the point? If minds aren't required for 2
Oh my
plus 2 to
God.
equal 4, where do we go from
That
here?
because they must exist within the mind, as Cyber keeps saying.
No,
Because-
you're not tracking.
Oh no,
You're
I'm
not
tracking.
2 plus 2, regardless if there's no minds, right? If there's no minds, 2 plus 2 still equals 4.
I'm getting there. That's the point. Okay, so we already explained that thing must exist within the mind. Something like a cup that you like to keep holding up cannot conceptualize that truth. The truth must be conceptualized because it cannot be grounded in anything other than the mind.
No,
So
that's not what I'm saying. I disagree.
No, that's okay. You're introducing an absurd, arbitrary criteria. What's the grounding for that?
Logic. I explained this. It's going to be grounded in logic, right? As soon as one
Okay, the explanation-
listen. As
Go
soon
ahead.
as one thing has the properties of a quark or a gluon,
Please make sure
right,
someone's
or a
recording
fundamental
this.
field, that item exists. If that item exists, then the number 1 exists. Well, if this item in the number 1, well, now we have 2, right? Because we have a proposition. It just like splinters into different things, just following logic, right?
Cyber,
No
yeah.
mind is required to conceptualize this. One in
So
like we
Cyber-
use 1 in English. There's the Arabic word for it. Currently, we use the Arabic number for 1. There's
Cyber,
the
you-
Hebrew. The numbers
you
are just
can't-
how we describe what oneness is, but the one still
Got you.
exists
So-
platonically.
So, Cyber, you can't have your cake and eat it too. So, for example, you can't tell me that logic is going to be the grounding for truth while simultaneously conceptualizing that thing. There's no mind in logic, it's just the axiom itself. So, I'm looking for a mind who can conceptualize this thing, not your mind, because you have a temporal mind. You don't exist eternally. So we're looking for an eternal mind to objectively conceptualize these truths, which is what I
think
define a law.
You-
might
you-
be-
hold on.
You're like maybe confusing our positions. Like me and Cyber are a little bit different on this. Like he's gonna think that the abstract concepts exist regardless of a mind because he's a Platonist. Whereas like you might be thinking of something I said earlier.
Okay, well that still doesn't respond. So regardless or irrespective of what Lopes holds to or what Cyber holds to, you guys both have to agree that all sort of truths must be grounded in something. So what is it that thing that it's grounded in? Because logic can't
Logic
conceptualize
and
truth.
reality.
Oh, logic explains the reality. So what grounds the
Hold on,
reality?
no. We put the term logic because that's how we're able to
Yeah,
conceptualize.
so you
things.
can't have your
But hold-
cake and
hold-
eat it
hold on.
too.
You're not tracking. You're
That's
just
called
not
that's
tracking.
called question begging, Cyber. I need you to explain why logic explains and conceptualizes objective truth. Can you do that for me?
That's what it
Yeah,
was designed to
because so if you have an item, right, and the item is has the law of identity, right, law of logic, law of identity, because item A has the properties of item A. As soon as it has a different property in there, it becomes item B. Well, that's the law of identity, right? And then if law of identity exists, then law of non-contradiction, law of excluded middle just follow. With law of excluded middle, you jump into fuzzy logic.
That's
But those
fine.
just follow. So that's logic. Those exist regardless of a mind. Now we use our minds when we see the law of logic, and we use our minds to describe them as the law of logic. Just like when you're walking out and you see a rock, well, that rock exists regardless if your mind is there or not. There's a planet right now that no mind has ever seen. There's a planet out there somewhere that no mind has ever seen. And as soon as we discover it, we give it a name, right? Same with law of logic. Logic exists, but once we recognize it, once we discover it, we put a name to it. And we realize that, hey, these particular 3 laws go together, right? Without law of identity, these 2 fail to obtain. You must have the law of identity for the other 2 to obtain, right? So thus they become, and since law of identity is necessary, well, then these are necessary as well. But then it is the case that things are just grounded in. We don't discover them. A mind doesn't go, oh, we discover it, and then we put a name to it.
That's fine, Cyber. So again, that doesn't. I'll tell you why it doesn't answer the question. Because
Yeah.
logic is just going to be the explanation for that thing.
That's your
However,
assumption. I've told you why that's not the case.
You've already agreed to it. So you're
No,
backtracking?
I didn't. You assumed I agreed to it.
You've already posited that before. So are you backtracking?
So where you're failing to go, hold on. That's why I'm mentioning, right? This is where you're failing to track. I mentioned that they've existed. I'm a Platonist. I believe that abstract
You
things
see how easy it is,
exist.
chat? You see how easy it is? Like they don't know how to respond to it. So I'm saying
No, I am responding to it. You're just
No,
not
no.
tracking.
No,
Logic. So I'm a
what's-
Platonist. So logic exists, right? And then when we discover it, because we use our minds to try to rationalize things, and then we discover logic through doing that.
Okay, so
right?
you're-
So you're
okay,
so you're
so the-
mistracking when I said
okay,
that we
that's
use
fine.
logic to like rationalize and conceptualize things. You're just not understanding what
Okay.
I'm saying, which
All
is
right,
why
let's-
when I said, "Hey, maybe this isn't making sense," let me restate it so that you
That's-
could stop doing it and you can actually buy a ticket and get back on the tracking train.
Okay, I appreciate that. Okay, so for example, you said things such as a rock or a planet. I'm talking about necessary truths. So can we stick to substance?
Well, and you said that if something does exist, it objectively exists, right? That's what you said.
And what are we
So-
talking about? Objective truths or anything?
Well, we're talking about objective truths, right?
Okay, so things such as 2 plus 2. Let's go back to the point. So I'm not talking about a planet, and I'm not talking about Mars, and I'm most certainly not talking about the rock or the cup that you keep
Okay.
bringing up. I'm talking about necessary truths. So necessary truths such as 2 plus 2 equals 4.
Yes.
Is this conceptualized by logic, the axiom?
It's grounded in logic.
Is it conceptualized?
How are you using conceptualize?
We agreed earlier that it must be.
Well, I just need to know how you're using concept because you're not tracking. This is just showing
Oh.
that you're not tracking, right?
So
we
you're
use
interrupting, and
logic
I'm getting
to
ready to land.
rationalize things, right? So in our
I'm
mind,
landing.
sure, we may use logic to like rationalize things like that, but that doesn't change the fact that the necessary truth still exists.
Cyber, you're stuck. I'm telling you how
You're-
you're
no,
stuck.
you're just not
I think so.
tracking.
I would say that we conceptualize logic. I think that Cyber's position would be something like logic exists prior to whether or not we conceptualize it.
Yeah, and I'm explaining that right now. So because Cyber can't ground it with his temporary mind, it still exists, but where does it exist?
Doesn't exist in any location.
In the Platonic realm.
So can logic be grounded in matter?
No.
Why not?
Logic is grounded in difference.
Oh,
He doesn't
Why
do
can it? What's difference? What's difference?
Yeah, because item A, as soon as it has different properties, it becomes item B.
And what does
right?
item A
That's
pick
what
out?
gives the law of identity. An item with its properties makes
And-
item
and-
A. It makes
and-
AA. That's what
and what-
makes the law of identity is difference. If there's
and-
no difference, there's no law of identity.
And what does item A pick out here?
Huh?
Picks
Item
up
A
identity.
picks up the properties and nature of item
Okay.
A. If it has a
Where-
different properties, natures, then it becomes
Okay.
item B.
What's grounding identity, Cyber?
necessity.
It's
And
well,
wh-
grounding is difference.
What-
The law of identity is grounded in
that's
difference.
just begging the question.
You-
Go back. So actually, the host just said something really important right now. Can you repeat that?
I say that the law of identity is necessary. You can't even consider, like, if you were to say that the law of identity isn't true, then you might say something like A can be not A, or A is not A, but even when you're doing that, you're referring to A, and you're applying the law of identity within the syllogism. It's inescapable,
Hey,
so it's necessary.
real quick, maybe Sticks can word this in a way. Maybe I'm just not wording it good enough. Bring Sticks up. Maybe Sticks can word this
Is
better.
Sticks requesting?
He mentioned that he's here if we need him because maybe he could word this better than I am.
I don't
Yeah,
know
let's
if I've talked
talk
to
to
Sticks or
Sticks.
not before. Sticks, have I met you before?
I'm not sure, Lobes. If not, it's good to meet you.
Okay. Are you another atheist or something else?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I guess go ahead.
So
Weigh in.
when you're talking about like metaphysical grounding relations, what do you take that to be? I don't know. I don't know what to call you. What can I call you?
That's fine. So any sort of objective truth. This is my argument. Any
Wait,
sort
sorry.
of
Sorry. I just want to get clear on that because you're talking about God grounding the law of identity, correct?
well, I'm not there yet. So we're making our way there.
But do you take it to be the case that God grounds identity?
Sure.
Okay. Now, when we are talking about grounding relations, what do you take a grounding relation to be?
Anything that can be the ultimate explanation for that thing,
So, like
or
how
the
A
ultimate
obtains in
ground,
virtue of B, right?
such as that such as that thing, as I was referring to earlier, such as the objective truths cannot be grounded in anything other or anything in matter or any sort of matter, any sort of created thing, any sort of contingent thing, any sort of thing that is subject to any sort of change.
Wait. So just slow down. So, a grounding relation in metaphysics is just going to be describing something like how A obtains in virtue of B, correct?
Sure, you can define it that way.
Okay. Now, when we're talking about God grounding the law of identity, would you agree that God is not identical to the law of identity?
No, I wouldn't necessarily say that God would be identical to the
Right. There's
to
like a
the law of
different property
logic.
set, correct?
Sure,
Does God have identity?
sure.
Perfect. Well, then we've already presupposed identity when we're talking about a grounding relation. When God grounds something, right? When A obtains in virtue of B, A being God, sorry, A being identity and God being B, right? You're saying that the law of identity only obtains in virtue of God, but identity is already presupposed.
Yeah,
So I don't
I'm
know what you're
saying
talking about when you're
I'm
saying that
saying
God metaphysically grounds the law of
that's
identity.
fine.
That's gibberish.
That's fine, Sticks. No, that's gibberish. So I'm saying any sort of logic would be grounded within the essence. It would subsist within the essence of God. So, for example, are you just saying that logic is grounded in anything other than God, such as matter?
No, I'm just not interested in the burden shift right now. I'm
Okay,
asking you, do you take it to
that's
be the
fine.
case?
That's
Do you
fine.
take it to be
Already,
the case that
that's
God
fine, Sticks.
grounds
I already
identity,
answered
or
that.
are you
So
retracting that statement now?
that's fine, Sticks. I already answered that. So, are you saying that matter or logic can be grounded in matter?
Wait, sorry, just to be clear, I'm just not interested in the burden shift yet. I'm just asking
That's
you, do you
fine,
take it to be
Sticks.
the
Are you
case?
gonna answer the
Wait,
question?
this is
All right,
just a
so
dog,
he's
right?
already panicking. He's already panicking, chat.
Does
So
it sound like
you
I'm
guys see how
panicking?
easy it is?
Notice
You
how
see
your
how
voice is
easy it
getting
is?
higher and higher, hey?
Appeal to the chat.
Okay, so can you respond to what I just said? My question.
Well, I just want to get clear on a few things before we continue on
That's
in this
fine. Can you
dialectic,
respond to
right?
my question? It's
So I
very
just need you to
simple.
calm down. So
Very
you take it
simple.
to be the case, right,
I'm
that
fine.
God
Can you answer my
grounds
question,
logic.
please?
Wait, why are you dodging?
I'm fine. Can you answer my question?
Why are you dodging? Why are you
I'm
trying
fine.
to
Can
move
you answer my
on
question?
from this current line of questioning? Are
I'm
you
fine.
nervous?
I'm fine. Can you answer my question?
Wait, okay. So before I answer your question, okay, just calm down.
Can
The
you answer
nervous
my question,
laughter
please?
isn't making you look good, right? I'm just asking you
I'm so nervous.
before we move on from this
Yo, this
point, right?
is
I'm happy to answer your questions, but we're not going to move on from that
that's
point.
fine. Go ahead.
Perfect. So when we're talking about God grounding identity, do you take it to be the case that this is informative?
What does that mean?
Right, that you've added any sort of like semantic content to that, or sorry, that statement, that sentence carries any like interesting content.
I'm not trying to trick anyone or no.
Okay, so what does it mean to ground the law of identity?
That just means to for that thing to be explained by the essence, or that thing to be explained by whatever it is, such
So
as
the law of identity is explained by God's identity.
such as that thing, such as the law of identity, cannot be grounded in any sort of matter or any sort of contingent created
Okay,
thing.
so that's the claim, but just slow down before we get there. The claim you're making now is that God's essence or identity or whatever grounds identity, correct?
Yeah, it subsists within his essence. Yes.
Okay, what's the well, hold on. Now you're changing this, right? What does it
Nope,
mean to subsist?
I affirmed this earlier.
What does it mean to subsist in his identity?
It's within his essence. It's in his virtue. It's in his essence.
It's within him. Okay, so the law of identity is true if and only if God exists, correct?
The law. That's correct. Yes.
Okay, so you don't take it to be the case that the law of identity is a tautological, like, analytic statement?
I'm not sure what that picks out.
You don't know what a tautology is?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Do you know what a tautology is?
No, I don't get into philosophy. I'm not a Phil bro.
Right. So a tautology is just going to be, it's just going to be,
Philosophy.
it's just going to be like, it's just a self-referential statement, right? We're just saying that A, the property of itself is equal to itself. Now, you're saying that that can only be true if and only if God exists, correct?
Yes.
So what would be the argument as to how God achieves a metaphysical grounding of a statement that is
gotcha.
tautological and analytically true?
Gotcha. Perfect. So I'm saying that that thing, such as the identity, cannot subsist within anything outside of God. Do you have an argument against my position?
Well, hold on. What do you mean by subsist in anything outside of
It
God?
cannot be grounded within anything outside of
Well,
God.
A equals A is grounded in itself because it's a analytic
Yeah, but I
tautology. It
told you
can't
that
be
it's
false.
subsist.
When we're
I told
talking, hold on, yeah. So this
I
is
told
just
you
a
my
structural
position, man. You're
invariant,
straw
right?
manning. This is a hard straw man. I
Why
told you my position.
just calm down, man. Just
Well, you're
take it easy.
misrepresenting me.
Well, so what I'm saying here is you're asking for how is it the case that A can equal A if God does not exist, correct?
Essentially, sure.
Okay. So what Lobes had said prior to me joining up is exactly this, that A cannot not equal A, that it's an analytic tautology. It's an analytic statement insofar as all we're saying is that any property set is equal to itself.
Oh,
And
excuse me. I actually did make a mistake. Excuse me. Yeah. That's just to say that it's independent, but it subsists within his essence.
A is independent but subsists within his essence.
Yeah.
So does his essence have an identity?
Yes.
Okay. And does the law of identity, is it distinct from his essence?
The law, it's not dependent, no.
It's distinct, right? The law of identity is not his essence, but his essence is not the law of identity, but
Yes.
there's a grounding relation between the two. Perfect. Well, you've already conceded that there's a structural invariant here, that in order to ground the law of identity already has to exist.
Yeah, it already has to exist, but that's not my argument here. My argument here is things such as objective truths. So do you want to deal with that?
That'll be a pivot, but yeah, we can talk
It's
about
not
that.
a pivot. That's why you came up.
Wait, by objective truth, would we say that like A equals A is an objective truth?
A equals A is it is an objective truth, yes.
Okay, but we already granted that God isn't necessary to ground that statement. So you just defeated your own argument.
You're talking about the concept or the explanation. I'm talking about the truth itself.
Wait. So the truth, the truth predicate of that statement, A equals A, is true if and only if God exists. But you just granted that God can't ground that thing because it already needs to exist in order to talk about metaphysical grounding relations.
I'm saying
holy blunder.
I'm saying it subsists or remains true irrespective of what's going on. Such as, for example,
can you just restate what I just said?
You just told me that I blundered, and I'm just.
Yeah, and why is it
responding
the
to
case
what
that
you're
I
saying.
believe that you blundered?
If you can repeat it, go ahead.
Seems like maybe a slight tracking error. So what I said is that A equals A because it's an analytic tautology. It's true by definition of the syntactic commitments and the terms being used, right? So if it's the case that A equals A in all possible worlds, that it's not a proposition that's made true by something else, then it's true independent of whether or not God could exist. So this notion that God grounds the thing that is necessary to ground a thing is gibberish to me. Now, when we move on and you say that truth can't exist, truth can't exist. Hold on.
You're moving on. Hold on. I need to catch that.
Hold on. Notice how you're cutting me off in the middle of the argument.
Wait, can you repeat that?
Just hold on. Yeah. So what I said is that A equals A is an analytic tautology. It's true by the it's made true by the terms being used. Okay. That if A has some sort of identity, all we're saying is that identity is equal to itself, right? And that's going to be a structural invariant. So it's going to be true whether or not God exists because God can't ground the thing that is necessary to talk about grounding relations. Now, the important and the critical point that you need to listen to is that you said that truth can't exist absent a God. But A equals A is a truth that would transcend whether or not God exists. So
Did I say that?
You did, yeah.
Okay, so I have Lobes and I have Cyber here, who are both faithful people, and I'm not sure how recent you joined the live, but that's not something that I said. Rather,
You just said it to
Six
me.
directly
Hold-
asked
hold
you
on,
that
hold on,
question, and
hold
you
on.
said yes.
Hold on. Rather, what I said was the truth in and of itself cannot be grounded within things such as the cup that you keep holding up. That's what I said.
Well,
It
I
matter.
don't necessarily take it to be the case that truth as like some sort of metaphysical utterance about a proposition is grounded in the physical matter. It's just it's within the logical framework or the logical system in which we're speaking in. Like I could
Can
just
it
take a
be-
deflationist view
Okay.
on truth and just don't. It doesn't
Perfect.
add any
So-
metaphysical content.
Okay, so where did truth lie?
Well, truth lies within the syntactic commitments of a language system.
And who can conceptualize that thing?
Well, minds conceptualize truths.
Right. So where do they exist outside of the mind?
It depends how you're taking it to be the case. Like,
Just answer
it
the
depends the
question.
type of. Hold on. So, when you ask where, are you asking in a spatial temporal sense?
However, Sticks would like to define it.
Well, truth again. Truth, I don't think is a metaphysical thing that exists
So you're
as.
just not going to answer the question. Okay.
I am answering the question. Notice
No,
how you're
you're-
cutting me off in the middle of answering it.
All right, go ahead.
That's how it's been, Sticks. It's how it's been.
At
Just-
least
just
with
real
that
quick.
Andrew, you know, like
Just a second.
Yeah, and just
Cyber.
be
Go ahead,
real
Sticks.
quick here. When we and
Just a second,
Sticks, I
Cyber.
don't want to hold on. And Sticks, I don't want to straw man you here, but when we use the word conceptualize, right, we be talking about like trying to form it into mind. For example, we conceptualize gravity as a curvature of space-time, right? So we understand and do it. That doesn't change the fact that it does do that, right? But it's just how we form it in our mind to make it make sense to us. But that doesn't change the fact that despite our mind not existing, space-time still is the curvature of space-time.
Yeah, like when we say like a proposition is true, we're just referring to the semantics of that statement. We're not talking like I mean the truth of a proposition. I don't think adds any metaphysical content. Like it's not like
That's
a
fine.
thing that's
So-
floating
so,
around.
So are truths ideas? Are they abstract?
Are truths abstract? Yeah, probably.
Okay, so can they be grounded in anything other than it being abstract?
Well, I don't know what it means to ground truths. Like, are you just asking are propositions true?
Can they not be abstract?
Can truths not be
Yup.
abstract? I don't know what it would mean for a truth to be concrete. I
a
don't see like
truth-
concrete truths.
Okay, can truths not be abstract? That's the question.
Can truths not be
Yup.
abstract? No. I don't think
Why
truths
not?
can be concrete.
Why not?
Because how does truth exist as a concrete object in space and time?
Okay, so they must exist within the mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so can they be grounded or exist?
I mean, there's Platonists.
Okay,
who
yeah,
hold different
we'll get
positions
there.
on this.
We'll
Cyber's
get there,
the Platonist
Sticks.
here, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get there. So, Sticks, can it be grounded in Sticks' mind?
Can truths be grounded in my mind?
Yup.
Like, are you asking, is something
Yup.
true if and only if my
Yup.
mind exists?
Yup.
Well, there could be like a true proposition, like, just calm down. Yeah, there would be a statement, like a subjective statement, like Sticks likes
Can you
ice
give me
cream. That's just
Sticks? I'm talking about necessary truths, not subjective truths. Necessary.
well, you
truths.
didn't clarify
the
that. You
truth
just said truth.
I think the truth that Sticks exists.
Wait,
should be
Sticks, come
grounded
off
in
of
Styx's
mute.
mind.
Come off of mute, Sticks. Come off of mute. I'm talking about necessary truths.
Okay, so what do you mean by how are you catching unnecessary here?
Oh my goodness. Okay, is there a possible world where I have two objects to my left and two objects to my right, and yet I don't have two objects?
Wait, sorry, are you asking about possible world semantics in a
Holy
modality?
crap. Can you answer the question?
I'm trying to get clear on the question.
Is there a
calm
possible
down.
world where I have two objects to my left and I have two objects to my right, but yet I don't have four objects?
Is there a possible world in which you do not have objects beside you?
You're not answering the question.
I'm trying to get clear on the question
maybe
because
I
your
can,
semantics
no,
are confused.
you're not answering the question. Maybe
Are you
Cyber
asking in
can
possible
answer it.
world semantics? Are
Maybe
you asking
you
is
can
it
go-
logically possible
You're not-
for there to not just calm down.
You're not answering the question.
I'm trying to get clear on the
Okay,
question.
can you repeat my question?
Yeah, you asked me, if there are two objects to your left and two objects to your right, is in some possible world, is it true that you do not have objects beside you?
So can you answer that question?
Yeah, in some possible worlds, there are no objects beside you.
In some possible worlds, I don't have 4 objects if I add those objects together.
This is why I'm trying to get clear on the question. Are you asking
Well,
that if
now
in
you
some
have clarity. Can you
Yeah,
answer the question?
just calm down. Look, you're nervous. Like interjections aren't making you look
Well,
good.
because you're acting like you don't understand, but you do understand.
Right.
So
I'm trying to get clear on the semantics because
you have clarity.
are you asking me if in some possible worlds you do not have objects beside you?
Nope. I'm asking if. Well, you can even say however Sticks would like to define it. Is there a possible world where I'm adding in this instance? I have 2 objects to my right, and I have 2 more objects to my left, and yet I don't have 4 objects.
Okay, so you're asking me is in any possible world would 2 objects and 2 objects not equal 4?
Yup.
Okay, so I don't know where this like spatial like beside you is coming into play, but no, in all possible worlds, 2 things and 2 things is necessarily going to entail 4 things. That's just analytic.
Okay, so it took you about 7 minutes to answer that basic
Wait. Do you think that the
Okay, so-
details about in some possible?
That's
Do you think
fine.
that you could have been more
couldn't-
concise
that's
and asked
fine.
me
So you're
in any
running.
possible
You're
world is 2
running.
plus 2 not equal
You're
4?
running. You
How
already
am I
answered
running?
the question.
Wait,
because I'm not
you're asking
finished,
about
and you're-
objects
you're
beside you
cutting- you're
and
cutting me
possible
off, but
world
you're asking-
semantics, and you're
so
asking me. Hold on,
can't
just
have-
calm down.
You can't have your cake and eat it
Just
too.
calm down.
So
Yeah, just
I'm
calm
giving
down.
you my argument.
Look,
and
just
you're
calm
cutting
down,
me
man. It's
off.
gonna be okay.
Catchphrase.
Are you cutting me off?
Yeah, just calm
Why are
down.
you cutting me off?
Why are you crashing out, dude?
Can you stop cutting me off so I can finish?
Okay.
I don't even understand that catchphrase either. Like, why is it like you can't have your cake and eat it too? I think you need to have cake before you can even eat it. It's kind of like besides the point.
That's-
But like, I've always
okay,
been
that's-
bothered by that expression.
Okay, I won't
Continue.
use it. That's fine.
No, you can
Okay,
still
thank you.
use it. Like, I know what it means. Just like, anyway, continue.
I understand. Okay, thank
So
you.
the question you asked me was,
You already
in any
answered,
possible
Sticks.
world, does 2 plus 2 not equal
You already
4?
answered, Sticks.
Correct. The answer is no. It's an analytic truth.
So it must be true, right?
Mhm.
So back to necessary. This is now qualified, right?
Well, analytic statements are necessarily true because they're just
So-
based on the commitments of the definitions of the things being discussed.
So it's qualified, right?
What's qualified?
Necessary.
Well, look, are you using necessary in the modal
Oh,
sense?
we just went through it. Do you want to
Hold
do
on.
it again?
Yeah, are you using
We
necessary
just went
in
through it. Do you want to do it again?
Yeah, are you using necessary in
phone's
a
about to
modal
die.
sense?
We just went through it. Do you want to do it again?
Listen, just
It's a
calm
yes
down.
or
Are you
no.
using necessary in a modal sense? Yes or no?
We just went through it.
So that's a yes.
We just qualified it. Remember?
So
It
just
took you
yes or
7
no.
minutes to
Look, why are
understand.
you dodging this very
don't know
very
if you
simple
Because my
understand
question?
the
phone's
question.
because my phone's about to die, and
Do you-
I'm trying to find my charger.
I grant that. Yeah. Are you using necessary in some modal sense? Yes or no?
I'm using a portable charger, by the way. So hold on 1 second.
Notice how this is just like a really simple yes or no.
Yeah, notice how I answered it already, and you're just
No, you said
You're
we've been
going
through this
back in
already.
circles.
We've been
You're-
through this
you're
already. It's not
backtracking.
yes and it's not no.
So I'm just asking you, like, when you're talking about necessary, are you using it in the modal sense that we would typically cash out, like necessary and contingent?
yes. It cannot fail to be the case. I've
Is
already
that so
qualified
hard?
it. Oh, I was looking for my charger. I said.
Right, but just after the 3 crash outs. Okay, so using
Okay, well, it took you
necessary in the
7
modal
minutes
sense.
it took you 7 minutes to get clarity on the word necessary. So, so
You
with
think it's
necessary,
a skill issue on my
so
part?
it took you 7 minutes, buddy.
Okay.
So with necessary, because now you're getting belted. With
Is that right?
necessary, yep. With necessary, qualified now. Is this something that cannot fail to be the case?
What's the referent?
Anything.
What? It? When you say
Whatever-
it's something that could not be the case, what is the it there?
To the necessary truth that you took
Analytic
7
truths
minutes.
are true in all possible worlds. That's what
Okay,
it means
so-
to be analytic.
Got
holy
you.
shit.
So it's an axiom, right?
No.
And necessary
You
truth
think
is
2
not an
plus 2
axiom
equals 4 is an axiom?
in every possible world.
Wait. Do you think 2 plus 2 equals 4 is an axiom?
Yup. So in
Okay,
every
what do you think an
possible world,
axiom is?
something that must exist in every possible world.
No, that's not what an axiom is. Holy
That's
an
a
blunder.
problem.
Oh my god.
That's a blunder?
This is so bad. Yeah, what do you
There's
think
no
an axiom
blunder.
is?
I just defined it.
You defined an axiom as something that exists in all possible worlds?
Yup.
Oh no. Oh my poor
That's
child.
the issue. You don't know what an axiom is.
I mean, you.
Okay, can you give me a
defined it
definition?
like this earlier, and I did express I've never heard it
Can
defined
you,
that
okay,
way.
instead of saying, can you give your definition, Six?
Yeah, it's just a fundamental principle or starting assumption is accepted without being proven within a particular system.
And is that thing that's not proven or proven? Is that something that's
2 +
existent
2 =
amongst every
4 is
possible?
necessarily true. It proves itself by definition.
And is that going to be the case in every possible world? I'm just asking if it's
But
necessarily
that's not what
true.
an axiom is.
Okay, if I'm pretty sure I've researched the word axiom.
Right. Can
Okay,
you tell me
so
what you think an axiom is then?
I just defined it.
Something
If I
that's
give
true in
you-
all possible world. That's
if
just
I-
gonna be a
if-
necessary
if-
fact. That's not what an axiom is.
It's
Holy
like an
blunder.
idiocentric
Okay,
definition.
it's not a blunder if you understand the term. Now, if you want to talk about definitions or if you want to talk about substance, then I'm not sure what you want to do. So, would you like to talk about substance, or you want to keep defining terms?
Well, just to be clear, if you're going to use like idiosyncratic definitions about terms that like what an axiom is not a truth that's true in all possible worlds. And if you're using that term
Okay,
going
that's
forward,
fine.
that's just not how it's used in the philosophical literature.
Okay, that's fine. My mistake. My mistake. So, for a necessary truth, it must exist in all possible worlds.
Well,
correct?
let's be clear here real quick, though. Let's be clear. Because even going back when you were talking to me, you kept throwing axiom out there. And we kept trying to be like, what? No. You've been using the word wrong this whole time. And your argument's been like hinging on axiom.
Oh no, but
You've been wrong this entire time.
But I have not. I've been clarifying this entire time. Cyber, now go back on mute so I can finish talking with Sticks, because now Sticks is getting belted. So
He
Sticks,
hasn't been getting belted at all.
yeah.
I feel good,
So-
buddy.
So Sticks, for a necessary truth, it must exist amongst all possible worlds. Correct?
That's what it means to be necessary.
Okay, and you've just agreed about 10 minutes ago that all necessary truths exist in minds, and you just told me that they cannot exist outside the mind. Correct?
Oh, hold on. There's a distinction between the truth and the propositional content in which the truth is referring to.
That's fine. Make your distinction.
What?
What's the distinction? What's the symmetry breaker?
Yeah, so the truth predicate, or like the truth table ran by like a logical inference or like a proposition, right, is distinct then from the thing that proposition is picking out in the world. So, for example, it's true that in the world the moon exists, right? But the proposition the moon exists, the truth predicate there is distinct from what it's like mistaking the map for the territory, right? Do you know the distinction
Gotcha.
there?
And is it going to be distinct from necessary truths?
Is what going to be distinct from necessary truths?
Your very example.
Are you asking me if the moon existing is a necessary truth?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so can we stick to objective truths here? So truths such as
And you keep jumping between objective and
Oh.
necessary when you get absolutely backhanded. by
I'm not
someone.
going anywhere. I'm here. So objective. What's the difference from something that's objective and something that's necessary?
Oh fuck! God damn
Yeah,
it!
something that's
I'm not.
objective
I'm,
will be
I'm,
true.
I'm
You think-
not. I'm
will
not.
be true
No,
about
I don't.
reality independent of like a stance, and then something that's necessary would be something that could not have been any other way.
Look,
So,
I'm about
got
to
you.
hold on real
Hold
quick.
on,
I'm
Cyber,
about to open up
Cyber,
Paint.
Cyber.
Listen, real quick. Listen. I'm
just a
about to
second,
open
because-
up Paint, and
and-
every time you lose tracking,
and
I'm going to
you
start
have a-
drawing a picture of
and-
Muhammad.
Hold on, I don't want Sticks to go anywhere, for example. But for necessary and for objective, are you guys just saying that there are necessary things that aren't objective?
Who said that?
So I can qualify it, right?
Wait, but do you think that all things objective are necessary truths?
Well, actually, no. Excuse me. No. All things that are objective are necessary. Yes.
You think that? So, do you think that it's objectively true that the moon exists?
It is objectively true. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Does it exist in all possible worlds?
Not necessarily. No.
Then it's not necessary. Holy blunder.
Okay, my mistake. Yeah, you got me there. Okay, but okay. So
You're
necessary-
cooking, man. Keep at it.
Yeah, but am I dishonest, or have I been honest this entire life?
I will give you that. You did at least say, "Whoops, my mistake" there. So I do appreciate that. I think that was honest.
Well, I
100%.
appreciate. I belted myself there. Okay, I appreciate myself, but that's not.
Self-belting.
That's not. We all agree that's not. That's not relative to proving God's existence. We're probably proving God's existence here. So back to proving God's existence. Something that's necessary. You guys are just saying that it can't. That thing cannot fail to be true.
That's what holy for like the ninth time. Yeah, that's what a necessary truth is. Yeah.
And they don't exist outside the mind, right?
What?
Hold on.
What are you asking? Does the
further
truth of the
qualify
proposition
because-
exist outside of the mind?
Because to eliminate more clarifying questions, an objective truth, is that just going to be an idea?
Sorry, can you repeat that question? I had alarm off.
Sure. So objective truths, are they just ideas?
Are objective truths ideas? Are you asking, is the content that the proposition is referring to an idea, or are you asking about the proposition itself?
Are they tangible insofar as empiricism?
What? I'm sorry,
Are
just
they-
answer the question. All right, when you're asking, look, there's a distinction between the thing that a proposition picks out, right, like the referent, and the proposition itself.
Wait, are you asking me, or did you just tell me something?
Yeah, do you affirm that there is a distinction?
Between the proposition and what?
So the proposition, the moon exists, you agree that there's a distinction between
No,
the semantic, the truth predicate of the semantics, or and the existence of that thing in general. Like there's a distinction between the proposition and the thing that the proposition is picking out.
So moon can fail to be the moon, correct?
What?
Can the moon fail to be the moon in a possible
Like in an identity relation?
In any relation, can it fail to be the moon?
I don't know what that question is trying to ask. Are you asking me, could A not equal A?
You just asked me earlier when I made a blunder, and I told you that the necessary thing cannot, such as the moon.
It's an important distinction, because if you're talking about its identity, then like the answer would be like, no, it can't. But if you're talking about like, could the moon like crumble into a million pieces, then it's like, yeah, it would stop being the moon at that point.
Thank you. Yes. And for a possible world, the moon cannot exist there, right?
Yeah, I already granted the moon's obviously not a necessary fact.
You keep talking about moons, but I'm talking about necessary truths. So 2 + 2 = 4. Can that fail to be the truth? Because now we're
That's
just going
an analytic.
Yeah, that analytic truth. Can it?
It's not a synthetic statement.
Okay, so can it fail to be the case?
No, because it's analytic.
Gotcha. So are analytic things or objective truths, are they just ideas? Or do they appeal to some sort of things such as empiricism? Are they tangible?
Obviously, no. That's what. Do you know what the analytic synthetic distinction is?
Nope.
Okay. So no, analytic statements are not true by virtue of something in the world.
What does that mean? You're just saying that it's not dependent on things
It means
within
it's
the world.
propositional. It's like purely propositional. They can be in reference to things that exist in reality and apply it that way, but you could also have it just purely conceptual. It's just about propositions.
That's fine. So can they exist outside of conceptuality?
Can what?
Objective truths.
Can objective truths? Are you asking? Could something that we as like if we assigned propositional content to exist outside of the mind? Yeah, of course. Yeah, things exist for sure.
Okay, so 2 + 2 = 4 can be subject to tangibility.
Oh my God! Look,
No.
I already described that. There's
Wait,
a
do you
distinction
agree or
between
disagree
analytic
with
and
that,
synthetic.
Sticks?
There's a distinction between analytic and synthetic statements.
Got you.
Right?
So do you agree or disagree with what I just said?
Well, you asked me a question, so I couldn't agree or disagree with the question.
So okay, can you answer the question?
Okay, can you repeat it?
Yeah. So things such as 2 + 2 = 4, can they be subject to tangibility?
What is that? What do you mean? Can a 2 + 2 = 4 be subject to tangibility?
Can you alter that thing?
Can I alter 2 + 2 = 4?
The mathematical fact.
It's an analytic statement. Holy, how many times do I have to say this?
Okay, so it's an idea, right?
Analytic statements can be conceptualized. Yeah.
Okay, they can be can they be not conceptualized?
What? Can
You
analytic
understand? Oh, Sticks, you
truth be
understand.
not conceptualized?
Sticks, you understand. I know you're smart. You understand.
Wait. So
Can
let me
they-
repeat back to your
Okay,
question. Can
that's
analytic
fine.
truth be not conceptualized?
Yup.
I don't know what that even means.
Okay, so you said they can be conceptualized, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, can they exist in somewhere that's not conceptualized?
I don't know what you mean by exist.
Can they subsist? Can they be true? Can they in anything that's not conceptualized? Analytic truths, abstract things.
Can abstract things exist absent a mind? Is that your question?
Yup.
Yeah, but if nobody conceptualizes them, then they're not existing spatially temporally. That's why I'm asking, like, what does it
Right,
mean
so-
to exist?
Got you. So are they grounded in anything else?
No, analytic statements are just grounded in the terms and the commitments of the language system.
In conceptuality, right? Insofar as something being conceptualized, right?
How many times are we going to do this?
Because you're back.
Honestly,
Because,
I'm
because
kind of just over
because
it.
Sticks, you keep backtracking.
I don't know what to call
So
you.
when I
What did you say?
that's
we should
fine.
Call you?
You can call me Muhammad. That's my name.
Okay,
So
Muhammad.
okay.
Well, Muhammad, we've been talking for a while, and it's kind of gone in circles, and we're speaking past each other constantly. I'm going to
Sticks,
bring
do
up
you want to
another
follow
guys.
me and maybe Sticks?
Thanks for coming up, Sticks. That was
Sorry about
very,
that, Lobes.
You're like really well spoken. I definitely want to interact with you some more. I'm glad that Cyber suggested you come up. Wait, I feel like did he recommend? No, Cyber, you had somebody else come up before, like a bio guy, like a biologist or something.
Yeah. No, Sticks. Sticks. We've known each other for what, 2 years now.
At least, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Sticks. But how so in your opinion, just to make sure, maybe we talk offline. How was I presenting like the Platonic view here? Like I now that I know that he was using axiom wrong and he just was using terms completely incorrectly, now I kind of feel vindicated. But I'm sort of like I'm trying to explain this the best I can.
No, I mean, I only caught a portion of what you're saying, and what you're saying like coheres with Platonism. I'm sympathetic to like mathematical Platonism for sure. I'm maybe agnostic to other forms of it, but yeah, like the fact of the matter is that like truth would exist in and it's kind of when we say something exists, right? You gotta get clear on what that means. But a Platonist is gonna hold that it exists in a different kind of realm. So yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to
I've
explain to
been-
him.
I've been warming up to Platonism too. I've been like considering it. I'm not saying that I'm anywhere close to jumping on it, but I have been like really thinking about it a lot lately, having interacted with you a lot and hearing some of the things that Ian says, then thinking about it. And I found it actually eerily similar to when people are Platonists. It's eerily similar to like that of almost like what a religious person would consider a spiritual realm, where like these there's like this abstract Platonic realm where these concepts are almost like ethereally exist. Like you've got like redness existing independent of objects, and then objects participate in the redness. It's almost like it's if I were religious, I would be like, oh, that's like the spirit of redness or some shit, right? And I'm like, whoa, this is like getting into religious territory, kind of, but it's like, I think it's a lot more thoughtful in the way it's presented.
It sounds like that, like, yeah, it sounds like that maybe to someone who, is hearing it for the first time. Like, what do you mean redness as a universal exists somewhere that's not in a spatial temporal place? Like, it sounds spooky. But you kind of dig into it, and there's like really cool kind of, maybe I'll leave you with this. There's like cool questions you can ask yourself. Like, if you take something in the physical world and you start asking questions about it, like there's an example of like cicadas, right? Cicadas come out every 3 and 7 years or whatever, and they come out of the ground or whatever. And the question is like, okay, well, why is that the case? Well, it's because it's in an off cycle from their predators, right? Well, why is that the case? Well, that's because every 7 years is like a prime number. Well, why is that the case? Well, then now you're into the territory of math, right? And math is irreducible at some point. So a lot of these physical questions about our reality ultimately bottom out at some mathematical question, which to me screams Platonism. But anyway, I'll leave you with that, Lobes. It's good chatting with you and meeting you, and Cyber, good to talk to you as well.
You too.
Styx. Yeah, W Styx. I don't have a theme song for Styx because I didn't know that he existed until a few minutes ago. But if you like frequent here, then I'll whip up a drop for you. By the way, I didn't play yours yet, Cyber.
Cyber deconstruction.
Oh yeah.
And here we have Shadow Eating.
Yep, that song was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, wasn't it though?
That's-
Hang on, we're gonna watch Shadow. This is Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yep.
You look that is not how Shadow is depicted in media, and I think they've done like Shadow a disservice for that. What does he actually have in his arsenal?
So, Shadow, I believe, because he's a created being. He was made by Dr. Robotnik's grandfather, and when he was created to be just as powerful as the Chaos Emerald. So that's why he has the rings on his wrist and his ankle there to restrict his power.
Right, and,
Yes.
and you took those away from him, so I think you're kind of reckless for that, fucker. All right, well, we've got an actual human here finally.
I am an actual human.
It's about time. You know?
Sorry, I'm a
We've got-
physical anti-realist.
Okay. So you don't believe that the physical exists? Are you serious?
What?
Or-
No. I'm a physicalist. I believe only the physical exists.
Oh. Okay. So,
Yeah.
are you an atheist?
Yes, I am. I just wanted to speak on the radical miscommunication that was occurring. That, when he was using, he who had no name, apparently, was using the term, like, exist, that he was, like, oh, God, sorry. Shadow the Hedgehog just filled my entire brain and removed all previous thoughts
Aren't
that
you
I had.
appreciative of that? Yeah. Well, he was
Yeah, it was absolutely
conflating the word
amazing.
axiom. He was confused on the word axiom. He was equivocating on that, and he was conflating
Yes.
necessary with objective.
Yes, it was. So he wanted to, like, he wanted Styx to state that, like, and I could hear it in his voice, is that he wanted Styx to state that math is mind dependent, that not the that math isn't like an observable thing. It doesn't exist like in nature. It doesn't exist outside of nature. It's not that math is this thing that can exist with or without us being here, that we necessarily have to exist in order to observe the universe and
What do you
with
mean?
our
The Fibonacci
consciousness.
sequence is examples of maths.
Hang on, Acid.
Yeah.
Wait your turn.
Yeah, so that because we have to create the language to describe what we observe as mathematics, that then math also must be a mind-dependent object.
Yeah. From what I can see
Yeah.
is that, and I think you would agree being a physicalist, like math is just a descriptive language that has been refined over time through trial and error to accurately depict reality, or accurately like
Yes.
describe the mechanisms in reality.
Yeah, and I think that there's the miscommunication happens between like idealism and like physicalism, is like the words we use to describe laws The words are social constructs. The words exist in our consciousness and in our mind, but the things that we are describing do not exist there.
They're
So,
descriptive,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. Math, like the language of mathematics, is mind, but what it describes isn't. Yeah.
Yep, I completely agree. Well, thanks for coming up, and actually,
Yeah, no
Human. I
problem.
appreciate the insight. I agree with everything you said. Have a good one, man. Thanks for,
You
for
too.
being here. Okay, Acid, are you at least 18?
Yes.
All right, what God do you believe in?
I don't. I am an agnostic, actually.
Oh, all right. Well, what did you want to say?
I just came in here because I like the topic and conversation, but I don't know what you guys were talking about previously before I came in, so I don't know if I'm talking about topics you've already
Right.
hashed over. So
We're
maybe I should just listen for a bit.
Yeah, we're between topics, and I did have two other people talking to a guest before, but that's just because we were kind of at a standstill, and there was a guy who was pretty philosophically literate in the chat. But tonight it's just me and Cyber co-hosting together and to talk to theists.
Okay. Sorry if I yelled before, because that guy, I was like trying to, he said that his friend didn't think that there was, maths in nature, and I started yelling, going, "What about the Fibonacci sequence?" So I apologize for that.
Right. All right. Well, thanks for coming up, Bassett. I appreciate you being here. Keep doing your atheisms and stuff. All right. So let's. Oh, hey, there's nobody else requesting. Well, we could wait a few seconds for another request. I'm thinking about doing a restart just to like kick the stream in the pants a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah. I'm kind of disappointed. I was getting ready to start drawing Aisha, but you cut it off before I got there.
Wait, I didn't cut off the like wait. You pulled no. I think oh, you mean the conversation.
Yeah,
I
you
think the
kicked him.
conversation ended. Yeah. Man, that would have been, but would that have been appropriate? I guess,
That's up
like,
to you.
what are they doing in the drawing?
Oh, it would have been her standing next to him. I'm not gonna draw
Okay.
anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like kid pointing, whoops, pointing at the adult, yeah, penetrate, yeah, like that. I'm like, oh, hold on now, put the hog away, dog.
Yeah, I say let's do a restart though. But hey, chat, before we do that, Sticks, if you're still here, leave a comment. Make sure you're following Sticks. Make sure you're following Lobes. Give him a follow. When we come back, the important thing is we need to tap that screen and try to get that number up there to 10K as quick as possible. You need to send heart me's. There's things that we gotta do to make sure this gets kicked out to the FYP.
Yeah, that's true, and early engagement really helps with that. Yeah, if it's getting traction right at the start, it gives it like a nice little boost. So yeah, if you're not following me already, give me a follow. I have a backup account right down here beneath Cyber. You follow that one too. It's significantly lower than my current ones or the main one. So
Yeah,
I'll be back in a matter of seconds. And I don't know if there's
yeah, and
anybody watching on YouTube. Let me check. No, nobody's on YouTube right now.
And after this as well, we should have a phone call. I don't want to go into too much detail here, but given certain events, what's going on with the other channel. But we'll talk about that later.
Okay. All right. Sounds serious. Okay, well, I'll see you guys momentarily. We're gonna reboot this shit. Where's Cyber? I thought he'd be faster to get back here than me. Why am I winded from doing something while sitting down? Ugh. There he is. Yeah, Cyber Dance Party. Oh, it's over. Yeah.
We got
Yeah,
the.
you killed the. Oh,
You want to say hi?
Hi.
she looks crazy.
The wife.
faded.
The wife wants to say hi.
Oh, hi.
Goodbye.
You're saying
Oh.
goodbye.
Hello, goodbye. You are the one that lies close to me, whispers hello, I miss you quite. Wait, I'm not supposed to sing unless the meter gets full up. My bad.
Yeah. She wants to
Sorry,
show the. She wants to show the kitty cat. That is Millie.
Hi, Millie. There's 100 people watching you. That's gonna help. That's gonna help the stream. Thanks, Millie. I appreciate the boost.
That's what we need, a cat cam.
Yeah. No, dead ass. Like, well, I don't have a cat anymore, but yeah, I'm not gonna do like.
But we
a
gotta
baby
fix
cam.
that.
No, we don't need cats right now. Well, I mean, it's sort of a lie. Like I'm living with my in-laws right now, and they have like 3 cats. So maybe I could do something like that. Let's see. Oh, no worries, Astro. You got proof. That's awesome. Yeah, you got proof. Request up. And lay it on me. Lay it on me nice and thick. Holy shit, we've been live for less than 5 minutes and we're already over 2,000 likes. You guys are mowing it down. Thank you. Guess a number? Wait, I have to like guess a number out of all the numbers for you to like prove that God exists?
I feel like if that is the case, I feel like when you get to heaven, you're gonna find yourself on the elevator, and Jesus is gonna be like, "You denied me, so I don't know who you are."
Yeah, yeah, and I'm not gonna do all that. I'm gonna talk with somebody who actually wants to come on The Voice. Hey, is it, how do I pronounce your name? Keelam?
Kelly M.
Kelly M.
Kelly
Oh,
M.
Kelly M. Okay, that's why it's capitalized. All right. Okay, are you at least
Yeah.
18?
Yeah, I'm 31.
Okay, what God do you
Yeah.
believe in?
My own God.
Nothing specific. You're not like a
Like-
part of any religion or anything like that.
I guess Jesus, but I'm not gonna say that he's my God.
Would you be comfortable saying that Jesus is not the Messiah and he did not hang on a cross and resurrect for the sins of the world?
He did do the sins of the world. He did save us from that.
Okay,
That's
so you
why
are a
we're-
Christian.
Sounds like a
Got it.
Christian. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Protestant.
Oh, well, yeah, you could have just said that. It would have been like moving. All right, so
Yeah.
anyway, now that we've established the fact that you're a Christian, I think it's a little bit weird. So, Cyber, I think it's kind of weird that like, no offense to you or anything, Kelly M, but it's like
Yeah,
Christians are embarrassed
okay.
to like admit that they're Christian or something. Like they're ashamed of it or something. Because
I'm
never
not
a straight
ashamed.
answer. It seemed like you really.
I'm
beat
not
around
an
the bush.
atheist. I just don't believe in any God, but I'm not an atheist. Don't
I
call me
wouldn't
an
say-
atheist.
Yeah. Well, that's what Radio Spencer says. But I think I think that it's like still maybe a dirty word for him. Like I didn't call myself an atheist for the longest time while I still was. But
Maybe you're
anyways,
trying
Kelly M.
to figure things out still.
Yeah. Kelly M, what's your best evidence for God?
Love.
And
Just
how does love prove that God exists?
It's inside of you, your heart. You
Well,
know?
There's also
Your-
poop inside of me, but like my poop does my poop
Yeah, but it
like,
comes
prove-
out.
That it does usually.
It does.
If everything's
but, like,
working
how does-
properly.
It's
Yeah, how does
elite.
love like prove though? Because like we can go into Greek myths and have love explained in like Greek mythology, in Egyptian mythology. We can even look at other mythologies and we can have an explanation for love. So how does love itself specifically prove the existence of your God?
Well, I have no idea.
Would you say maybe it's the fact that Jesus, as we were talking about Jesus and the crucifixion, would you say
Yeah.
that he was so willing to give his life that maybe that's better evidence?
He protected himself first and then protected the people.
What do you mean he protected himself?
By being reborn, he protected his fear.
What did he protect himself
over
from?
fear.
Fear, but like there was a passage. Cyber, am I wrong? Like there's a passage where he's like
Spiritual
anticipating
fear.
it, but he was like sweating blood because he was so.
Yeah,
nervous.
there's a couple things. There's a couple things. We have him in the Gospels where he's telling his disciples initially, hey, only have what you have, right? Sell all your things, come follow me. And then later on, as he's getting ready to go into the garden, he tells his disciples and says, hey,
Judas.
well, he tells Judas has already betrayed him by this time. Judas has already betrayed him. And he tells his
Yeah.
disciples, he says, hey, there's a prophecy, and he quotes a prophecy, and essentially it is that the Messiah is going to be accused of a crime. And he's like, but hey, in order for this to come true, I need you guys to now go buy swords. And he did that because he was anticipating, as Lobes was mentioning, that he knew he'd been betrayed.
Conquered
He
his
knew-
own anguish.
Well, he knew that Judas had already betrayed him, so he knew that people were going to come after him. And so he needed his disciples to have swords so that they would use
Right.
them to try to protect him. And that's why as soon as Peter cuts the guy's ear off, Jesus heals is like, whoa, stop. Because he's already self-fulfilled that prophecy. But what Lobes was
Yeah.
saying is he's like begging to have this cup removed from him. He doesn't want to go through this. In the middle of it, he's like, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. But if I have to, I will. But I really don't want to do this.
Do
Anyway,
you believe that he turned water into wine?
I don't believe he existed.
I wouldn't
He
go
existed.
quite that far.
Horus
But
existed.
what is him? What if he turned water into wine? I would sooner believe that he was a magician. There are magicians today that turn water
No.
to wine. You can actually buy
No,
that
that's
party
all-
trick.
Did you know that even Pharaoh's magicians were able to turn water into blood after Moses did it? Pharaoh's magicians
That was a
were able
fake.
to
That was
mimic
fake.
it.
No, that was fake. He
It was
lied
fake.
about that.
Well, the
'cause
Bible lied about it.
Moses-
The
No,
Bible says that
pharaohs-
the Bible says that like this is what the magicians did, and they even like threw down their staves and turned into snakes because did Moses do his first, or did they do theirs? I think they were copying.
They
him,
did
right?
theirs first.
Oh, they did theirs first.
Yeah, I think actually, I'd have to go back and look. He
I think
might
they
have thrown his
copied-
down first, and then they copied.
Yeah, they were like, we can do that too, bitch, and they threw down theirs, and then his stick snake swallowed up their stick snakes. I mean, that's just what the Bible says. It's obviously ridiculous. but-
Moses won.
As a matter of fact, so if you go to Exodus 7:22, you have where Moses and Aaron have struck the Nile and they've turned it to blood, and then it says, as Moses turned the Nile to blood, Pharaoh's magicians did the same by their secret dark arts. But the magicians of Egypt did the same by their secret arts, and Pharaoh's heart remained hardened. Exodus 7:22. So according to Moses, because your belief is that Moses wrote Exodus, according to Moses, Pharaoh's magicians were able to use dark arts and do the same thing.
Magicians are fake, but the real stuff happened from God, which is turning water into wine, and that was real.
What makes you
magicians-
think
But the
that
blood
that kind of
part-
thing is real? Like, what makes you convinced that the magic in the Bible, when it's done by God or through God's power, that stuff is actually real? How did you like verify that it's true?
Because the imagination is more important than knowledge, and imagination can make a lot of weird things happen. But it's stuck
not
in this
granted.
dimension or something, or whatever.
Yeah, are you saying that somebody who, unfortunately, but if you take somebody that, like, say they suffer from schizophrenia and they're seeing things, that
Mhm.
because they're seeing these, that these things are actually coming into reality?
Kind of, but not really.
See, knowledge is what allows you to know better when you are confronted with your own imagination. Like, the more knowledge you have, the more resilient you are to being swayed and tricked and just bamboozled by your own imagination.
Yeah, knowledge. I don't even have my GED.
I grant that.
31.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, anyway,
Imagination's more important.
Kellyanne,
Okay.
it feels like you don't really have a whole lot, but you can think about it, come up with something, and come back.
Yeah.
I'm live on Monday through Thursday usually, so yeah, definitely come on back when you got something for us. I'm gonna move on to somebody who maybe has something prepared here. Hey,
Hey, what's up,
Is
y'all?
it Lava?
Yeah, LVA. Yeah, LVA. I'm Luke. Y'all can just call me Luke.
Okay, Luke. Are you at least 18?
Yeah, I'm 19.
All right, what God do you believe in?
So, personally, I like I don't believe in Yahweh. Like I don't think the Bible has enough. Like there's not enough to verify the Bible to be true. So, but just like the idea of a God existing, I'm on the fence about it. Like I don't. It could be real, but it'll be so hard to know. You know, like it'd be such an
Right. What is
difficult
what would
thing
you say
to-
is like the most compelling idea supporting the existence of God for you?
I guess for me, maybe it would probably be the existence of the carbon cycle. The fact that all living things require essential elements like carbon and water, hydrogen, and stuff like that. It all seems kind of perfect. Like if it was like if there's something that wants it to be like this way.
Are you saying that like
I guess.
we need these things in order to live, and we just happen to have these things, and so that's like almost like a fine-tuning argument? Is that kind of what you're trying to say?
Honestly, yeah, kind of, but
Because
I don't know how
where
good
I
of an
would-
argument that is.
Where I
but-
would go with this is that we could only possibly find ourselves in an environment that supports our existence, right? Like the only reason why we exist in the first place is because the conditions for us to emerge on this planet in the regions where we emerged were met. And if you look at the other trillions of planets, I mean, we haven't looked at all of them in depth. Most of them don't fit those conditions. I like to think of it like this.
Right.
If each, let's say you've got a set of marbles, and you've got a target on the table. The marbles are rolling towards the target. There's all this space where the marbles could go, but one of them lands in the bullseye. Yeah, it's not really that outrageous to me to think that that could be possible. Now, if you have trillions of marbles and like billions or even trillions of targets, I would be very, very surprised if not a single one of them landed on the target. That's us. Like, we're one of those marbles that landed on the target.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting way to see it. I never really thought of it that way. But it is really interesting because the things I mentioned, like carbon and hydrogen, I'm pretty sure, and you can look this up, that those elements were found in space. So the existence of aliens is, not that far off.
Oh yeah,
So it just really
I'd
makes
be
you
surprised
wonder,
if there
like-
was no extraterrestrial life. I don't know how like intelligent it might be, but the universe
'Cause,
is so incomprehensibly vast. I think
Yeah.
there's bound to be another world like
But
ours
I don't
somewhere.
think that we wouldn't consider alien life to be a god, right? But
Right.
I want to read you a poem real quick, and I want you to see if this sounds familiar. So it's called The Puddle Analogy by Douglas Adams. And the way this goes is, imagine a puddle waking up one morning and thinking, this is an interesting world I find myself in. An interesting hole I find myself in. It fits me rather neatly, doesn't it? In fact, it fits me staggeringly well. Must have been made to have me in it. This is such a powerful idea. That is, as the sun rises in the sky and the air heats up and the puddle gets smaller and smaller, it's still frantically hanging on to the notion that everything's going on is going to be all right, because this world was meant to have him in it, was built to have him in it, so the moment he disappears catches him rather by surprise. So what this is saying is kind of what Lobes was saying is, because we live here and we would fail to exist anywhere else that doesn't have these specific conditions, we come up with this idea that this must have been made for us. But it is the case that when we take a look at the past Earth, the Earth has gone through 8 major extinction events. And the only reason why organisms survived the first one is because they were able to evolve as that extinction event was happening. They were able to evolve to survive. So we, those of us that are living now, whether it's plant, animal, bacteria, everything that lives today only lives because we evolved as these extinction events continued. So we only are able to live in this because we evolved to live in it. Not that the world was created for us, but we evolved to survive it.
In fact,
Exactly,
the world is
and-
going to go through more transformations too, and if
Oh, yeah.
if it changes fast enough, like with climate change and everything, it can change faster than we're able to adapt to it, and that will, like, climate change could be our own undoing, right? It could be our extinction event, and the Earth is going to continue on long after humans would be extinct from either that or another cause. I mean, some people think that there's I think it's up to like a 12% chance that AI could be what wipes us out. I don't remember where I heard that stat, so it could just be baloney. Don't take everything I say on faith or anything
Yeah,
like that.
that
But
is crazy.
but like, I mean, yeah, like something could wipe us out in theory, or we could not adapt very well to the changing environment, and we would go extinct, and the Earth would still continue on indifferent to our absence.
But using all that, I mean, let's say that does happen. That doesn't disprove the idea that there was a creator of the universe, and that's what I mean. Like when I'm on the fence, like this is really
It doesn't
no
disprove it. You're
real
right.
way to
It doesn't
know.
disprove it. It just makes this fine tuning position moot, right? Like that reason
Okay,
is
I
not
see
good
what you
enough
mean, yeah.
reason to say that there is a God, right? So, and I'm happy to go through each reason that you might have, especially since you're on the fence. I think that talking to people who are on the fence is extremely important and fruitful, because people who are on the fence are open-minded more so than
Right,
anybody
and
else.
personally, like I've been raised Christian, and but I've always loved science and I've always loved learning. So, it kind of surprised me when I was learning that Christian people don't believe in evolution, and it's always frustrating to have to explain that it's not like a progression system.
A lot
It's
of
just
Christians
like
do
animals.
nowadays. I think it's
Yeah.
like affirmed from Catholic. I think Catholics believe in evolution usually, right?
Mhm.
Don't they? Yeah.
Unfortunately, the ones I've met are still, very traditional and not very willing to accept reality.
Yeah,
So
that's because it's like a religious dogma. Whenever you
yeah,
have an
it's
idea
propaganda,
that
it's all that.
right, whenever
And
you have an idea under religious dogma that conflicts with the tradition, there's no room for correction. You can't say, well, we were wrong about this, or we were misled, we're going to adapt our view. That doesn't happen. You have denominational split. People separate when they start thinking for themselves, and the religion does not hold up, so it splits off into different denominations that eventually become entirely different religions. Now, like, the opposite is true with science. Scientific inquiry brings ideas together, right? People are excited when they're proven wrong in science because we're making progress together, right?
that's what makes it
Yeah.
reliable.
Yeah. Do you have another like powerful idea that makes you think that the idea of God could be true?
I guess I have one other idea, but this one doesn't hold up that well. I would say maybe it's just because of the fact that, biologically humans are animals, yet compared to all these other species of animals, we are like so advanced and so have so
Right.
much
We're just
mental
the smartest
capacity. But
animal. Like you've got a
yeah,
fastest
and
animal, you've got like
yeah,
a slowest animal, a biggest animal. We're just the smartest one. And I think that is
and
perfectly
the
acceptable.
the idea is like maybe there was an entity that wanted us to be aware that we're conscious matter that's able to look back through history. No other species can really do that.
There are a lot of
So the idea is
species that
that
are able to
maybe
like think about their thoughts. I was actually watching a video about this today. There are a lot of animals that are able to do like introspection and recognize themselves in the mirror, think about their own
oh,
thoughts. A lot of other
oh,
species
wow.
of primates and stuff can do this. Dolphins have been observed to exhibit pause before responding to whatever like question they're asked when they're in in a laboratory setting or like an inquisitive study. Um, and sometimes it takes training.
Ravens,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, ravens, if you like piss a raven off, they're able to recognize you and they're able to describe you like in their own language in such a way that their hatchlings, their children will still come after you. Like and ravens are known to get revenge, but they can explain you to a T to where their children will hunt you down. And they can do this for like 2 or 3 generations where they're able to describe this in their own way so well that their children don't even their grandchildren don't even need to see you, and they can do. And this back in the day, this would cause people to think that like ravens live these extremely long lives, but it was really the case that it was just a few generations of this raven's descendants were just coming after you.
That's so insane.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah,
we are the way that we are. It certainly could be the case that it's by design, perhaps. But like it also could be and is almost certainly true that it is just natural. All the evidence we have points to it being natural. We don't have any evidence to suggest that it to give positive evidence for the idea that we were designed with intent, with like
right. Because
teleology.
all these animals they have intelligence to fit their specific niche, so they don't need to have intellect like humans do. And humans had to evolve because we were dealing with like Neanderthals and predators and
Well,
a lot of different
all
variables. So
animals, yeah, I mean, all animals evolve, and if
yeah, yeah,
and certain animals don't undergo evolution as fast because they're fitting their niche very well. I think that
right.
we're going to start to see some pretty rapid human evolution here soon because we have shaped our own environment to like coddle us. I think we're going to look physically different in the coming centuries than people who never make it out of like a third world country and exposed to the elements. Like us who are indoors all the time, sitting down all the time, in air conditioning, we're going to start to look different. Like
Huh.
we're gonna I think that's what's going to happen.
And
Wow.
just so you
Crazy,
know,
crazy.
like we're where we're at because again we were the most intelligent, so we're able to develop tools, right? But like for example, orangutans. I'm just looking this up now. Orangutans,
Oh yeah, apes
one
use
of
sleep
their
a lot.
one of their favorite things to eat are prickly pears. And know what they do when they go to get prickly pears? They make gloves out of bark,
Wow.
right?
There's like
They're able to use leaves and like bend branches in such a way where they actually use like leaves as umbrellas, right? It's just the fact that our intelligence amongst the other great apes, we were the most intelligent. And once we invented the wheel, take off from there. Once we learned how to smelt metals, we took off there. But imagine where these other apes will get as soon as they learn these primitive things. Will they catch up to us? Probably not. But there's some basic techniques that once they're learned, intelligence from there just explodes.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we could. Would you be open to hearing an argument against the existence of God?
sure, yeah.
Okay, so if God exists, then he created the universe, space-time, the fundamental forces of the universe. All that exists as we know it would have been created by this God. He would be external to it. So that would be the first premise, right? Now, if time is in space, like time is a part of space-time. Time is the change, the sequence, the transition from one state of affairs to the next. So one moment to the next, we would call that transition time. And this is what we also call like change. So change would be only found in time. If you have change, then you have time, because change would denote a before and an after. So if you have a state of affairs where time has not yet been created, there is no time, therefore there is no change. This is an unchanging, it's a changeless state where change is not possible. So the state of affairs cannot change from being changeless to changing, because that would be a logical contradiction. That which is changeless cannot change necessarily by its definition. Some people will say that God can do this because he's eternally creating this, like the Catholic position. God is pure act, he's eternally creating. But if God is always eternally creating, then as long as God exists, it follows that the universe exists, which means it was never really brought into existence, because God in his single slice of, like, I guess proto-time, or whatever you want to call it, pseudo-time, he is, as long as he's existing, the universe is just existing. So if God created the universe, he couldn't, well, if God is the creator of the universe, in either way, he cannot exist. Because if he has to do a logical contradiction, that's going to prevent him from being able to create it. And if he is eternally creating the universe, it never really was created in the first place. So either way you look at it, God can't exist. I think I
Yeah,
fumbled
and
around with that a
honestly,
little bit, but does it make sense?
yeah, it, I'll definitely look into that because that sounds super interesting. But I mean, overall, most likely God probably doesn't exist. I mean, it's like the opposite of the scientific method. Instead of coming from an observation and then building from there, you already have a conclusion. You're like, I'm trying to justify why God exists. I'm trying to find all the stuff to show that he exists. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's just so hard to do because,
That's what
like,
you see. Yeah, like it's
yeah,
very telling. That's the kind of shit that took me away from it before I heard syllogisms like the one I just provided. Now, I did a sloppy job of presenting the syllogism because it's late at night and I'm 2 beers deep and everything, but yeah, when people try to justify God, they say things that don't really make a lot of sense. They say things that are unjustified. They say things with a very obvious bias that they're trying to confirm. They have this conclusion because originally the thought came from either their incredulity, they didn't know the answer, so they inserted one, their cope for their mortality, they need something to exist to sustain their life after they die, their desire to have objective purpose that they don't know how else to ground unless some kind of transcendent being just assigns it to them. There's so many powerful emotional motivators to believe in God, and their belief would start at one or more of those. Then they retrofit arguments and do apologetics to cram this square peg into the circular hole and make it work. And the strongest thing that they have to say is, well, you can't prove God doesn't exist, but I also can't prove there's no sandwich on Pluto, so that's pretty weak.
like that's just what it comes down to. It's like the lack of evidence for a God is proof that God exists. No. So overall, I don't know. I think, I mean, there's probably, I feel like just with the vastness of the universe and considering how old it is too, I'm sure there's like super intelligent beings that, could be spying on us. Who knows? But like an actual creator of the universe, I don't know. Probably
Yeah.
not. Realistically, it's just,
Like a
it just
demiurge
doesn't seem
or
very
something.
likely.
A demiurge, I
Yeah,
think,
it's like
would be
something.
at least like logically possible, but the way God as the creator of the universe is described, I think that breaks logic. Um, Hey man, I'm gonna bring up the next guest. This has been awesome.
All right,
Definitely.
cool. Yeah,
You can, if you want, we should interact some more. You join the Discord, or you can
I
come back another
appreciate
time
it.
when I'm live. Yeah, you're very cool. Yeah, thank you for being here. Let's bring up. I feel like I wonder if this is the person who was up on Ogar's live before. Hey, Billy the Badass, have we interacted before? I think I recognize your name.
No.
Okay, are you at least 18?
Yeah, it's Bad Bass.
Oh wait, Bad Bass. That's why there's a
You're good.
bass. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay. And what God do you believe in?
The God of Christianity, Jesus Christ.
All right, Bad Bass. What's your best evidence for God?
Creation.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, what we can see. Creation.
Okay. So what you're looking at, you're calling creation. I'm looking at the same thing. I wouldn't call it creation until somebody convinced me that it was created. Can you do that?
I mean, anything else you can see would have to be created. It wasn't just like a magical pop.
Can you explain why that's true?
Because it's true in our everyday life. To have any substance, it must be created.
Well, what we see in our everyday lives is structure that is constructed from things that already existed. Like the laptop that I'm using to stream this from, that was created, so to speak, or rather built and constructed from pieces and parts that already existed. I'm made up of matter that already existed before I was born. The earth is made up of matter that existed before its formation, right? But the matter itself, the energy, I mean, we don't really see that stuff come into existence. Energy can't really be created. This is thermodynamics.
Mhm.
Well, sure it can. I mean, you would have to have, like I said, you would have to have a creator for any kind of creation.
Well, that's like analytically true, sure, but I'm saying that I wouldn't categorize the universe as creation. Like if you call it creation, then yeah, by definition, it would need a creator. But I don't know that there's a creator, so I'm not going to call it creation until somebody can demonstrate that it was indeed created. But I think that we landed on energy, and you're saying, sure, energy can be created. Can you tell me how energy can be created?
Well, energy is created constantly
By what?
by wind, water.
So that's a transfer of energy, right? The wind already has energy, and it gives like a windmill or something, or water, like a water mill. Like the energy already exists. It's just being transferred. We're collecting it. We're generating electricity.
And just to be clear, wind itself is not energy; it's just moving air.
Right.
That's
Well,
what I said.
I mean, the
That's what-
wind has like kinetic energy.
Mhm.
So what is your belief on how everything came into existence?
So
Well,
the
that's a
universe,
burden shift.
the universe itself, I'm not convinced that it came into existence. And I was just talking to the last guest about how time would have to have always existed by its very nature. I can't logically come to the conclusion that time came into existence at any point. I think that contradicts what we know time to be.
So you think it's always been?
Yeah, I take that on
There's
personally.
there's not a beginning and there's not an end.
I think that all
Nope.
moments. I think that I think I'm agnostic to a first moment. I'm leaning towards the past being infinite, but I do hold that all moments, past, present, future, exist equally. So I am like an eternalist in that regard. I hold to the B theory of time, and I think that that set of moments has just always existed.
And I hold to a cyclic universe. When we take a look at the recent DESI study, I believe the universe is cyclic, that it goes through a series of big bangs and big crunches.
Created by
Fundamental fields have always existed. They're fundamental. They were not created.
I think I'm not being rude when I say that. I just like that's just harder to believe than something like to just say it's just here.
How did
I mean,
your
our
God come to
eyes.
be?
He doesn't have to come to be. He's God.
He
God.
just always has been.
Always has
Well,
been.
the
Always
fundamental
will be.
fields don't need to come to be. They're fundamental, so they've just
always
are.
been.
Right. We can do that too.
What are the fundamental? I mean, I'm not a super smart guy, so
Sorry,
explain to me
okay.
what do you mean?
Yeah, the fundamental quantum fields. This is so referring to quantum field theory. This is a scientific theory wherein we have fields that permeate the universe, and these fields have energy ubiquitously permeating literally everywhere in the universe. So some people would say that like a photon exists everywhere. When they say something like that, they're referring to the electromagnetic field permeating the universe, where anytime there is something that could excite that field, a photon could pop into existence at any given location in space or time.
So
And
then there was a beginning.
Well, I'm not talking about the Big Bang.
No, but I'm saying like there had to be I don't know. I just can't wrap my head around there not being a beginning. And I don't think.
Well, the Big Bang certainly happened and is still continuing to happen, but it is not considered to be the beginning of all existence in physics or in cosmology.
I guess I can't wrap my head around there not being a creator for a creation.
So let's think about it this way. Let's say you have a first moment. What could have caused that first moment?
What do you mean a first moment?
Like a first moment, like a beginning. You're saying that there has to be a beginning. So that would entail a first moment in time. What could have possibly caused that first moment?
For me or for
anything?
Like, what do you think?
God. God created the first moment.
Then if God is creating the first moment, then the act of creating the first moment would have a prior to it. It wouldn't have actually been the first moment. If God is outside of time and all of time is ahead of him or like separate from him, he doesn't actually have any causal power. Do you see what I'm saying?
No.
So
because I don't believe that's how God. I don't believe that's how God works.
Maybe look at it this way: like effects or causes always happen either before or simultaneous to their effects. And if God transcends time, he's timeless. He needs to be timeless in order to create time, so he must be timeless. That would mean he's not before or simultaneous to anything, which means he cannot be the cause of anything.
I just think that takes a ridiculous amount of faith in.
That just logically follows. So
yeah,
the way I think about the first moment, I'll let you go in just a second, Cyber.
Yeah.
The way I think about the first moment, if it's the first moment, by definition, it happened for no reason. It's something coming from nothing. Because if something caused it, then there was a moment prior to that first moment. You see what I'm saying? Like it would mean that there is something that is before this moment. So then it's not truly the first moment. We would be invoking a break in the causal chain where something can come from nothing.
Like, for example, all creation entails a change of states. A change of states is a progression from one state to another. The progression of states is time. Thus, time is necessary precondition for creation. So God would go from a state of not creating to creating, right? But that is a change, right? But God going from a state of no creating to creating, that's something that he's talking about. That's a cause of creation. But what would cause God to want to create would be a change in God's mind. God has to have something in his mind where he goes from a mental state of not wanting to create to wanting to create. But in order for him to have that mental state change, he would have to recognize that the universe has not yet been created. So that's a change, right? And we just have these things that are being caused before God even creates. Yeah, but if God is timeless,
which would imply time.
Yeah, but if God is timeless, God can't change. So he can't have that change of states in his mind because that requires time.
Well, sure he can. I mean, he's the master. Like for me, he is the master of the universe. So if he wanted to speak the world into existence, he spoke it into existence. He didn't need us. Like there's no need for it.
But the argument is, in order for him to want to create, because he's going from a state where he's not actualizing creation to where he is actualizing creation, there has to be a change in his brain state, in his mind state, to cause him to want to do that.
And you don't
That's
believe
a change.
possible?
Huh?
And you don't believe that's possible?
No, because if he's timeless, then he can't change. Because change is a progression from one state to another. That's change, that's time. So if he has a progression of not wanting to create to wanting to create, that's time. That requires time for that to happen. So he can't be timeless, he has to be in time.
And if he's in time, then he didn't create time. And if time is a fundamental part of our universe, then he did not create the universe, as he would already exist within said universe. That means that he would be, the universe would be ontologically prior to God.
Gotcha. So what is the purpose of existence, or is there none?
I don't know that there is one. I don't know how I could possibly.
But where do we get and I heard you talking to the last guest about, I know she had said that she brought up, you asked her what her best evidence, and she said love, and that is special. That's something that is inside of all of us. And even like you brought up other religions, but God has a common grace. I mean, there's a common grace, because if you believe in the Bible and you believe what's going on around us, it's spiritual warfare. There's a common grace that God gives.
I mean, this is
everybody.
if you already assume the paradigm. Yeah, but like we're questioning whether or not it's true, so we can't start from a place within the paradigm, right?
Yeah,
It
because
could
in our
be
worldview,
coherent. It could still be coherent and make sense if you assume it, but we don't know that it's even true. Like I could make up a false story that makes perfect sense and seems like it could be true, but that doesn't make it true. Do you see what I'm saying?
because it would be the case like in our worldview, love exists. And what we see is when you take a look at social creatures versus non-social creatures, love seems to be a thing that's found amongst social creatures and something that's not found amongst non-social creatures. So it seems like social creatures, the ability to love is something that was evolutionary beneficial for us as a species, or for those species to form those societies. It's just evolutionary beneficial.
Yeah.
Yep. So both of us can explain it. We can both explain why love exists in both our worldviews.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you base everything off of, I guess, what you believe is off of science, and to me, I mean, it's just so everything with science is so flawed, and it's always rapidly changing, right?
Science is the reason why we're even able to have this conversation right now.
Mm-hmm.
And science, you're right when you're saying it's changing, but it's because it's self-correcting. Science is constantly being changed by newer, better, more accurate science. We don't start with a full picture. Like that wouldn't make any sense. We start with very limited information, and we build off of the discoveries of people who came before us to formulate newer and more accurate hypotheses and theories about the state of affairs that we find ourselves in. Like this is a really good system. I don't even know what the second place would be, because it would be science is so far ahead of whatever this second place methodology would find itself in.
As a matter of fact, let me give. I can go to the scriptures to kind of talk about this. Do you believe that all virgins bleed, all women virgins bleed the first time they have sex?
No.
And we know that because through science, through the methodology, we've been able to realize that it is the case that not all women bleed. However, God, according to the scriptures, doesn't know that. God's not aware of that. And he created, according to people that believe in the Abrahamic religions, if we go to Deuteronomy 22, we get a virginity test. And essentially, it's going to be Deuteronomy 22, verses 13 through 21. Suppose a man marries a woman, but after going into her, so having sex with her, dislikes her, and makes up charges against her, slandering her by saying, I married this woman, but when I lay with her, I did not find evidence of her virginity. What do you think the evidence of her virginity would have been when he goes to sleep with her?
Well, there could be lots of evidences of virginity.
Like
Well,
what?
it continues on. It does continue on to say they lay
Yeah.
out the sheet, and this is
Yeah, I'll
implying
read
that
it.
they're looking for a blood stain.
The father of the young woman and her mother shall then submit the evidence of the young woman's virginity to take to the elders of the city of the gate. The father of the young woman shall say to the elders, I gave my daughter in marriage to this man, but he dislikes her, and he has made up charges against her, saying, I did not find evidence of your daughter's virginity, but here is the evidence of my daughter's virginity. Then they shall spread out the cloth before the elders of the town. Now, in Israelite culture, what they would do is, so in order to break the law, to be charged with it, you have to have two witnesses. Well, in the case of having, sex for the first time, nobody's going to go in and watch this. So what they would do is they'd have what they called the wedding blanket. It'd be a blanket that would be laid out. The bride and the groom would go into the house. They would do the deed because having sex is part of the Israelite marriage ceremony. It's an important part of it.
Consummation.
Yep, the consummation of it. But the bride's family would wait outside. And as soon as they were done, the family would go into the house and grab the wedding blanket. That way, then, if he tried to accuse her, they would lay it out. And so they spread out the cloth before the elders of the town. The elders of the town, now this is if the man lied. They found no blood, and the man lied. The elders of the town shall take the man and punish him. They shall fine him 100 shekels of silver, which they shall give to the young woman's father, because he has slandered a virgin of Israel. She shall remain his wife. He shall not be permitted to divorce her as long as he live. If, however, this charge is true, that evidence of the woman's virginity was not found, meaning there's no blood on the cloth, then they shall bring the young woman out to the entrance of her father's house, and the men of her town shall stone her to death.
Yeah, so I would say back to that. I mean, everything you just said goes back. You believe that humans evolve, right? So how do we know back in those times that wasn't a for sure, and that those are things that happen, and maybe it's a diet nowadays.
That type of okay. So what you're saying is we potentially could have evolved from we always have the hymen break the first time we have sex to now only a few less than 10,000 years later it breaks sometimes before that. Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm trying to say if we have evolved in our diets. I mean, there's plenty of things. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a genius, but I think it's fair to say that there's things that the body the body changes, and plus you're talking about the Israelites. Who wrote the book of Deuteronomy?
Yeah,
we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. But the thing is, our bodies wouldn't have changed so significantly. Our bodies, the women's bodies, wouldn't have changed so drastically regarding the hymen from then to now. There isn't enough time for that kind of a change to happen.
What do you base that on?
Based on how long it takes for species to make significant leaps in evolution. This is a process that takes deep time, hundreds of thousands to millions or even billions of years, not 3,000 years.
As a matter of fact, evidence.
Earlier, you had just said that you think here in the next few generations, humans are going to be different. They're going to look different.
Yeah, no, I do. Change. I do think that that's because we're shaping our environment.
You're talking generations.
Generations, yeah. I'm not saying we're going to be significantly different. We're going to be noticeably different within a few, I said centuries, by the way. Within a few centuries, we're going to be noticeably different from people who are more exposed to the elements from, their lineages exposed to the elements from now till then.
In fact, something that we see going on right now with humans, for example, is since we learned how to cook, we've noticed that with Homo sapiens, since we learned to cook, our jaws have been getting narrower. Today, 30 to 40% of the populations of humans are born without wisdom teeth. They don't even get wisdom teeth anymore because we don't need them anymore. But this isn't something that's just happened. This is something that's taken hundreds of thousands of years to happen, right? Since we learned how to cook is when we start seeing this. But the issue that you run into, though, as a Christian, is that God repeats repeatedly, Exodus 12:17, you shall observe this law through your generations as a status forever. Leviticus 16, this shall be a statute for you forever. God, when Moses is receiving the final law before they enter into the promised land in Deuteronomy, all the commandments that I have given you will be followed forever. So the idea of like evolution happening, and I know you don't believe in evolution unless you do, but if it is the case that you're trying to argue that the hymen has evolved to be thinner, well, and God knew this because God is all knowing, well, God gave a statute that is going to cause even more women over time to be stoned to unalivement according to his law that he says to be followed forever, because he would have set that evolutionary pattern into motion. So you don't want to take that stance. But my whole point... Oh, go ahead.
His law isn't... I mean, the law, the Old Testament law and the law of Moses, which is the book of Deuteronomy, is not as relevant today as it was.
Well, Jesus says it endures forever.
Yeah.
Well, it does endure forever, but he also came in place of that because nobody could be made perfect.
Well, that would mean it didn't endure forever. If he came in place of it, like to nullify it, like it's still relevant today according to Jesus.
Yeah, in fact, Jesus in Matthew chapter 5 states that until heaven and earth pass a law, not one jot, not one tittle is to pass from the law and the prophets. That's important. The Tanakh, the Hebrew scripture, is made up of three portions. You have the Torah, which is the law, you have the prophets, and then you have other writings, right? He mentions that not one jot, not one tittle of the law and the prophets is to change until heaven and earth passes away, and anybody that teaches against the law will be the lowest in heaven. And in Matthew 23, he says, hey, because the scribes and the Pharisees sit on the seat of Moses, whatever meaning they have the authority, whatever they say and teach, do it. However, what they do, their actions, don't do their actions because they're hypocrites. And then the rest of Matthew 23 is explaining why they're hypocrites. In Mark 7, he is being chastised because the Pharisees have this tradition of washing hands. They have a tradition of washing hands. And they go and they chastise him and his disciples because in Torah, you don't have to wash your hands. Hand washing is not found in Torah. And they chastise him for not following the oral law. And Jesus says, wait a minute. Who are you to chastise me for not following the oral law? You guys aren't even following the written law. God said, matter of fact, it'd be better if I actually read this, because the way Jesus words it is actually more impactful. So the Pharisees said, why do your disciples not walk according to the tradition of the elders, but eat with defiled hands? Jesus said to them, Isaiah prophesied rightly about you hypocrites, as it is written, this people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching human precepts as doctrines. You abandon the commandments of God to hold to human tradition. Then Jesus said to them, you have a fine way of rejecting the commandment of God in order to keep your tradition. For Moses said, honor your father and your mother, and whoever speaks evil of father or mother must surely die. But you say, that if anyone tells mother or father, whatever support you might have had from me is Corban, that is an offering to God, then you no longer permit to do anything for a father and mother, thus nullifying the word of God through your traditions that you have handed on, and you do many things like this. So Jesus here is quite literally using, the written law of stoning disobedient children to chastise them. So Jesus fully supports the Torah. The scriptures repeatedly has him supporting the Torah. So Jesus supports the old law.
Well, but he also said he came to fulfill that law.
Yeah.
Do you know
not
what
to
fulfill
abolish it.
means in a Yeah, he says I've come to fulfill, not to abolish. Do you
So
know
the
what
law is not
fulfill
abolished.
means? Yeah, do you know what fulfill means in the Jewish sense? And Jesus was Jewish.
No, go ahead.
So I'm Jewish, and again, washing hands is an important thing. We have a special pictures that we use to do it. I fulfill the mitzvah every time I wash my hands. I fulfill mitzvah when during Pesach, during Passover, when I don't eat leavened bread. All fulfill means is to do. In a Jewish sense, fulfill means to do, to follow. So when Jesus says, I've come to fulfill the law, he means I've come to follow the law. That's what it means.
But Cyber would be fulfilling the law when he drives the speed limit.
Yes. I'm fulfilling that law.
Right. But it doesn't mean that nobody has to drive the speed limit anymore because Cyber fulfilled it. It just means that he's fulfilling the law. We still have an obligation to fulfill the law as well. Because it's not abolished. He has a distinction there. Like, he fulfilled it. He did not come to abolish it, but to fulfill it or to adhere to it.
And that's just what it means in the Jewish sense.
To be an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the New Testament. I mean, basically, Jesus came for laws that we couldn't fulfill.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want to say that either.
I don't know why God would give us laws that He knows we're incapable of fulfilling, especially if He's gonna punish us for that. It's insane.
His
I mean, could you
glory.
imagine if I told my son that he has to clean the whole house with a toothbrush in 5 minutes? I know he's not gonna fulfill it, and if he doesn't, then I'm gonna punish him severely for it. That's just being cruel.
Well,
Yeah,
and
but if you
God
were to tell
himself,
your son that, if you were to tell your son, don't do this, don't touch that stove, but you know he's going to touch that stove, that's
Well,
where
it's possible.
punishment comes
It's possible for him to fulfill it, and I think him touching the stove is punishment enough. That's just a natural consequence.
yeah, but the issue
But
that
you're
we
allowing that punishment.
But the issue that we run into here as well is that God, in Deuteronomy 30, again, Moses is receiving the law and God's going back over the entirety of the law with Moses. And then he says in Deuteronomy 30, 11 through 14, surely this command that I am commanding you today. So he just got done going over the entire covenant, the entire law with Moses. Surely this command that I am commanding you today is not too hard for you, nor is it too far away. It is not in heaven that you should say, who will go up to heaven for us and get it for us so that we may hear it and observe it? Neither is it beyond the sea that you should say, who will cross it to the other side and get it for us that we may hear and observe it? No, the word is very near to you. It is in your mouth and in your heart for you to observe. So God here is saying the law that I have given you is easy. It's not hard. You don't got to go traveling for it. It's going to be right here and it's easy. So you can't say that there were things that we couldn't fulfill because that goes against what God told Moses.
Well, I guess I lost you on the first part of that verse. Would you start one more time? I'm sorry.
Yeah, surely this command that I am commanding you today
And
is
which
not
commandment
too...
was it? I'm sorry.
He
which
just got
commandment?
done going over the entirety of the covenant. Deuteronomy is God essentially. He goes over the command, the old covenant with Moses, and then he's saying, now here is the law that I'm giving you also, because you're entering the land of Israel, you're entering the promised land. There's some additional laws that you're going to be following once you're in the land of Israel. It's how you're going to keep the land of Israel without losing it. But so he just went over the Leviticus, Exodus. He's gone over all of the previous law. He's now going over these new laws that are to be that are in addition once they enter the promised land, because they're about to cross the Jordan River and he says, so this command is referring to the entirety of all the Levitical law, of all the Mosaic, not Levitical, all of the Mosaic law that Moses has received. It's all of it. It's referring to all of it. All 613 mitzvahs. Surely this command that I am commanding you today is not too hard for you, nor is it too far away.
I
Hey,
think
I'll allow you to respond, Bad Bass, but I am going to end the stream because it's like quite late, and I do need to get to bed. I gotta give up for my kids.
Just running from the word of God.
I'm
It's
running,
okay.
dog. I can't handle the word of God. All right, but what did you want to say in response to Cyber?
Well, the one thing I did want to say whenever I was listening to y'all before, I want to end with this, and it was Cyber was talking about Jesus being scared to go to the cross and not wanting to go to the cross.
Mhm.
And I think and you've probably heard it before, but what you miss is it's not the cross that Jesus feared. It was the separation from the Father.
Well, okay. Well, thank you for that response, Bad Bass. Definitely come back on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or a week from now on Thursday. Those are the days that I tend to stream. I would love to have a conversation with you again because you seem calm and open-minded. Thank you.
And let's
thank you for
give him
joining me,
some.
Cyber.
Yeah, and let's give that last guest some massive W's. Super respectful. You can't. And now my friend Peachy just got here.
Just in time for us to leave.
Just in time for you to end.
It's okay. I'm gonna bring the audience somewhere else. Let's all go raid Christina the Godless.
Yeah.
Because I don't
Hey.
usually see her live by this late at the night, so I want to pass it off over to her. I think that could be really fun.
Yeah, Christina, and one thing is, I think it's really important that we actually go raid Christina the Godless. It's really important. I'm super excited that we're getting more femme-presenting voices in this space. Traditionally, it's been male-dominated, and I'm so excited that we're getting more femme voices in this space.
Yeah, me
But
too.
Peachy, I need to text you after this. You might have already heard. It's about a certain individual, but I'm going to text you right after this.
All right, and I think you said you wanted to have a phone call.
Yeah, I sent you a text about it. So shoot me back if you want a phone call about it, we can talk.
Sure. All right. Well, everybody, let's go raid Christina the Godless. Christina the Godless. We'll see you over there. Thank you so much for being here. You guys have a good night.